Well, yet again, we find ourselves here on a Sunday. It seems like this week blew by a little bit faster than I was expecting, but of course, it's me, it's Mark, it's Sunday, and there is more than enough to discuss. And even if there's not, then we'll find something else to talk about anyway. Welcome back to the Just Gaming Podcast. Today we are talking about my adventures in Warframe. Talking about some major changes, a shift in tone with Arrowhead Studios and Helldivers 2. There's also been some rumbling and drama around Stellar Blade as usual, as a few other games. So today, my friends, sit down and talk. We're talking about everything from video games to TV shows to just about anything else that we can think of. So welcome yet again to the Just Gaming Podcast. Take a seat, enjoy yourself, and listen. Yes.
I literally thought you were about to do the listen, and I will tell you a tale.
Listen, and I will tell you a tale. A tale of days old and time past.
Happy Sunday. Happy Podcast Sunday.
Yes, happy Sunday. Beautiful Sunday.
It is.
All right.
It is beautiful.
Welcome back to the Just Gaming Podcast with me, your host, Ian, and
Mark,
the
other guy.
I hope you guys are enjoying my haircut as much as I am.
Sorry, Jackie has hearing problems, so it's cool. It's been a very fruitful week for me. A lot of I've actually played a game more. I'm sorry, I just saw your face. I just found been playing the game more every day than I normally would have, and I'm enjoying it a lot.
Good.
So
good. Yeah.
Good.
Well, let's start. Let's start the show as we always do. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. Hello, Twitch. Hello, YouTube. Seeing some new names and new faces pop up in the chat, which we absolutely love to see. Ginks, Mr. O, Tamaki, of course, Arrow, Dark Hollow, Wings of Pestilence. Welcome back, everybody. So Mark, I guess we'll start it off because you're obviously pretty excited to talk about it. Tell everybody how much you've been enjoying playing Polly Pocket and the
You have no idea. It
noodles.
Is so good. Polly Pocket and the Princess is so good. No, I've just been having a really good gaming week. Like it's this game's invigorated me to play other games this week, and I've just been having a lot of fun playing. Like when people say there's no games to play, I'm like, yeah, there are plenty of games to play.
Yeah. So let's see here. What have you been playing, my friend?
Okay, so I like, how do I explain Balatro and me wanting to like, so Balatro's been triggering me.
Sounds right.
And you've been trying to coach me, and I won't listen because I'm stubborn. Been playing a ton of Warframe, a lot, daily. I just started No Rest for the Wicked, so I'm just not. I don't really have any like opinions either way on it so far.
Mm-hmm.
Art wise, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful game.
True that.
Yeah, that's been about my week of gaming. So,
yeah. So I've been just about the exact same. Still a hound for Balatro, obviously, or Balatro, however you want to say it. It's actually really funny when it comes to that game that like the only reason I picked it up and played it was because I saw like everybody from Larian Studios was like losing their mind over it. They're like, this is one of the greatest games ever. Like literally them saying that Balatro's better than Baldur's Gate 3. I was like, I'm like, I mean, I can get it from their perspective because they're the ones that made Baldur's Gate 3. So it's a little bit
like
yeah, it's
humbling.
For them, it's like it's not a humbling thing for them. They made the game, so I feel like you probably don't get as much enjoyment out of a game if you're the one that made it.
Well, that and you've been playing it for a long time. You know what I mean? So
true. Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, no, I saw Sven posting about it. I saw their production manager and a few other people that were posting about it, talking about how much they love the game. And then I gave it a shot, and then now I'm well over 100 hours into the game now. So I've owned it for I think 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. Has it only been 2 weeks? No, it's been 3.
Has
or
it?
4? It's been 4 weeks. It's been at least a month. It has to have been. I don't know. All I know is every time I get on, you're on, and you're not talking to me. You're not even getting into the chat. You're just playing Balatro. That's what you're doing.
But I'm dialed in. Okay, I'm dialed in. Well, the thing is that like the vast majority of people here probably haven't even played the game or anything like that, nor are they very interested in it because you guys didn't watch the video. But there's a score you can get to. It's built into the game that you can get error scores. So like scores over 1 billion points, which is like insane. And I still have yet to been able to build a deck like that yet. And I'm still working on trying to get it, try to get up to the point where I can do something like that. I get close, but then it just seems so far away. But I've beaten every difficulty except for Orange Steak now. It looks like there's actually 2 difficulties. So there's Orange Steak and then something else above it, but I don't know exactly what that is. It gets hard.
Yeah,
it's hard. On higher difficulty, it's hard.
It's hard on any difficulty. I don't care. It can be.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all luck based, right? So
yeah,
but, if your luck is shit, then you're probably not gonna have a really good time with it. Obviously, and then outside of that, I've been playing more Warframe. So first off, something I haven't been able to talk about or say anything about basically since that Warframe video went up is one, welcome to the folks that have now joined the channel through the Warframe video. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from that. I thought it was a video that was very much dead in the water, and then all of a sudden it just kind of rose from the ashes and took off like a phoenix, and a lot of people have been engaging with it. A lot of people really like it. I've gotten a lot of really positive feedback from it. Some not positive feedback, but I don't care about them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know why we do it as just people. I wouldn't say gamers, but we do it with everything. Like it's the gatekeeping of you can't have an opinion that's different than mine because this is my game. I've loved this game forever. But then you've got most normal, rational people like, hey man, I think it's super cool that you're getting into the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like regardless of your good, bad, or indifferent idea.
The vast majority of players that have, or the vast majority of people that have like been commenting or maybe even joined the Discord or have like tried to send me like friend requests and stuff like that on Warframe, the vast majority of people are incredibly friendly. I mean, I've like super generous people have been like sending me gifts of stuff that, to be honest with you, I don't even really know what it does. They're like, oh, you know, this would be really useful, and I'm like, I guess I don't know what this is, but
I'm rank mastery 4, so
I'm mastery rank 4, right? Well, actually, I think I'm 6 now, but you know,
6.
It. But at the same time, like I think somebody had sent me some like Warframe slots and stuff like that. Like that stuff is actually like genuinely like super helpful because it's like, oh, okay, now I can actually have place to put new Warframes, which is really nice. And same thing goes for like weapon slots and stuff, which I'm noticing like that's probably one of the bigger issues for me to run into, or one of the bigger walls for me to run into, is it's like, oh, I need extra storage space that you have to purchase. The only way you can buy it is with platinum, and I'm not really one for wanting to spend, you know, money on games like that, you know what I mean? So it can kind of be a little bit of an impasse, but it's super helpful that people have done that, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
and I also really appreciate a lot of the advice and stuff like that too. We popped up a channel in the Discord for Warframe, and it's been pretty lively. Yeah,
it was weird. I've had 3 incidents where I was just like in a relay, you know, one of like the little small open areas to go talk to vendors or whatnot, and people would just like, I'd get here's a gift from blah blah blah, and it was just like, you know, just gave me some credits or this or whatever because they saw that I was a lonely, you know, rank 7. But it's happened 3 different times.
I need to go walk around walk around in public areas and just like and use like the most like booty looking like frame. I'll just put on like Vault and then just make it
all
like
white
default colors. Just default colors, like I don't know where anything is. But yeah, so I've been putting more hours into it. I'm really happy because obviously there was a lot of really positive feedback. Some people had some really really nice things to say. The community for the game seems relatively welcoming, which is really cool. And as such, I have picked that I'm just going to continue to play the game, and I guess I'm just going to document my journey through it in the best way that I can. And I actually really like the way that I did that video. It's the first time I'm doing a video like that, where instead of it being like an essay, it still is, right? It's still like an essay.
It's still an essay. It kind of has that flavor, but it's with a twist a little bit.
It's a story.
I kind of like that. Yeah.
It's actually like my like, oh, I like point A to point B kind of situation where you have all the stops in between, and you get to kind of like you get to kind of get through it. So that's been really cool. So far as like, I mean, for the folks that probably want an update on how it's feeling now for me, it's better. It's a lot better. I'm on Saturn, and I've been doing a couple things in the Void. Still just pushing nodes. Still just going through the the star chart, I think is what everybody calls it, star chart. Yeah. And yeah, no, it's starting to feel better now that enemies are getting to be like 20 to 25 in certain areas. And then sometimes, obviously, I'll do like survive missions and wait around a little bit longer. Now enemies actually have like a little bit of health. So that feels really good. And yeah, so there's that. I realize that there's going to be, more difficult content in the game going forward. And one of the weird things that I saw were like, there were people who were like, oh my God, this guy just went steel path right out of the gate. And I'm like, one, I don't know what that is, but I'm just going to take a wild guess and say that that's probably something similar to like Nightfall in Destiny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's much higher level difficulty content. The enemies hit harder. The enemies have a lot more health. You actually have to have a build online to be able to actually take down a lot of those Nightfall raids and stuff, and all that stuff. So that's not what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
What I was asking for was not being able to literally kill everything with a single bullet. The level of difficulty is so non-existent for the first, and to be honest, like, while I say like it is better, like you're 50, 60 hours into the game and you're like, you're breathing on things and they die. And like part of that can be really cool if the density of monsters is up. But the problem is that the vast majority of the content leading up until, I want to say probably until I at least got to like Jupiter or so, is that for the most part, there just weren't enough enemies. And while like I realize that like there's going to be people, and like somebody even said it in chat, just wait for Steel Path. You can't have the expectation that players are going to stick around for 100 hours to get to that kind of content. Like that is bad game design. Like the game is great. And here's the thing, if you guys haven't watched any of my content in the past, or you're new and you're here on the podcast for the first time, know that when I look at a game, I criticize it and I celebrate it at the exact same time. I'm never going to look at something and just say it's always awesome and never talk bad about it, because there are things that need to be recognized and things that need to be fixed. And from what I gather from conversations that I've had with other people, they've been trying to, make the new player experience better over time. It's something that they've been working on. And that's something that does need to, you need to look at that, because it's like, you're going to have people that are going to play it and be like, this is just boring. Because it really was, like, other than like the parts that were really exciting that I did really enjoy, the game was like boring as shit. Like,
No, it's understandable. A lot of the planets getting it up to, I would say it didn't start feeling, I wouldn't even say challenging, but just more, it's probably Neptune. Neptune. I just made it to Neptune.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the planets don't scale. So when you have to do a mission for your quest missions, and you've already done all these nodes, and then you're going back to do something that's in a 5 to 10 level area, you're literally, it's almost meaningless to do this run through the map, and you're just cutting through everything like it's butter. To use the objective.
To use this, like, here's the thing. Like, I can understand where people are coming from. They're like, oh, well, it gets more difficult later. But like, realize like that's a long, like, 60, 70 hours or more is like, that's insane. Yeah. That's not even like, come on, man. Like, let's be like realistic about this. Let's have a bit of
they should have scaled the planets as you were going from the start. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, something like that. Like, and the other thing is too is that like one of the things that like I find disappointing at the very beginning for me was that you have these boss fights, and I've seen like memes and stuff like that. People have, oh, this character is kind of a meme and this, and it's just like, bro, because of how the game is balanced at the very beginning, I don't even know who they are because they died in a second and everybody skipped the cutscene.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. They don't like. You shoot them with one bullet, the boss is dead. Okay, you run it again. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not saying that they need to touch up difficulty. The problem is like the health pooling at the very beginning is just way too like non-existent. And yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's all the thing is that's my only criticism. That's my only criticism is that. But the problem is like that's a pretty heavy criticism at the very beginning because
that's your only gameplay criticism.
Yeah.
That'd be the fairest thing to say.
The streamer know how to turn off matchmaking. It's been off since the beginning. I can kill anything in the game by looking at it. Like I suggest anybody to go and just make a new account and just play the game for, a couple hours, and you'll see that like still do you know what it is? I'm a god gamer. Yeah. That's what it is. Everybody is just so trash at the game and I just make it look so easy. That must be what it is.
No, it is. But like, even though it's easy, it's still satisfying just to mulch all those enemies. It's still satisfying.
Well, see, and that's where my criticism is that it's like, it would be better if there were more, like, it's either more health or more enemies. But the problem is that like the density is like so light at the very beginning of the game that like, it's like, oh, 2 enemies dead.
Yeah. And they're kind of
2 enemies
out.
Dead. Rather than like, it'd feel so much better if like, okay, if we're not going to up the health pools, then we'll say, I don't know, 30 enemies. Let me like kill an entire wave. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what this like. Yeah.
Yeah. It just, like I said, it just depends on I mean, I don't know what else to say about that, but it does get a lot better. It does get harder.
No, like, and here's the thing, like where it is right now with Saturn, if it was like that with the rest of the game, like that much health, where like it actually takes a couple shots to kill something, I actually do need to use like one of my abilities to be able to like boost my damage to quickly take down some of the more like I don't know what they're called, but I call them like enchanted enemies. You know what I mean? Like the ones that have like auras and shit.
Starts with an E. I forget what they're called.
Yeah, enhanced or something maybe. I don't know.
Elixirs or something. I don't know. Something like that.
So anyway, at this point now it feels good because it's like now I feel like I could like there's a reason to use abilities. There's a reason to use abilities and things like that. However, for fucking 70 hours, there wasn't a reason for me to ever use a single ability.
Yeah. No, like literally it's just like playing an ARPG that's too easy and you're just hitting the one button ability. Depending on what it is. You're just like the one ability for like if you were using Volt, you're just dashing, right? Or going fast. Yeah. Basically. And so that's what it ends up being, is just you're just hitting your big D. It's just like when we had to do the control part where you have to sit on or protect the thing, and I literally with Goss just sit there and cast that circle, and we just stood there and watched the enemies just run into it and die. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, it's called Eximus. We had 2 people let us know they're called Eximus because they're extra.
So, and then one of the other things too as well, and I mean this is something that I'll probably talk in a little bit more detail when I get to when I get around to making the next video for it. I mean that probably won't be next week. It might be like the week following or something. I want to get, the first one was my first 20 hours. I kind of want to get to the point where like my next one is going to be more like, I don't know, 50, 60 hours, 70 maybe. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want to get to. So when I first started playing, Fortuna was like one of those moments where I'm like, okay, I want to talk about my thoughts with this game, because there's obviously a lot more here than meets the eye, and I want to discuss that and what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking and what my experience has been with the game so far. I haven't met one of those other points yet. There's been some that are close that I'm like, okay, well, this is definitely something I want to talk about, but I want to hit one of those points where I feel like it's a chapter close, and I'm like, okay, we need to talk about the next chapter in my journey, right?
Yeah.
And I just haven't gotten to that yet, and when I do, then the next video for it will come out. I will say
I
though,
I think the form actually in the chat, he makes the point, because that's where I'm at right now. The second dream quest, it's such a tonal shift. It's a quest. Even I think it's Nath. Nath is the quest before it. And I'm not gonna ruin the story, but it's such a tonal shift in the game that it feels, it actually is one of the few quests that actually feels meaningful.
Yeah, so one of the things that I will say too is that, like, there were 2 quests that I've done recently. One was with the simulacrum, the like the guy that's like Ortis.
Yeah.
At the space station. So there was a bit of like an actual like narrative in that all of a sudden, where I'm like, okay, wait a minute, like, there's like a little bit of character building with Ortis and the operator, or Lotus, right? And I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty cool. I want to I'm like, okay, so there's actually a little bit more going. There's a little bit more going on with this game. And then there was another one that was right after that, which was the Deadlock, which was like the last bigger quest that I did. The one where I have to go and I had to kill the chick in the void or whatever she was.
Protea.
Yeah, Protea.
Protea, yeah.
And those 2, especially the second one with Deadlock, because in that one there was actually like a cinematic. There were multiple cinematics. There was like one where you go and you actually talk to like the people on Fortuna a couple times, and then there was an actual like intro cinematic, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm like, this must be when they, maybe when they try to change like their storytelling in Warframe. That must have been, if I'm taking a wild guess and saying that probably was like an expansion or a season update, or I don't know exactly. What do they do in Warframe?
I'm not 100% sure. I know they do like the next like patch or whatever they're going to put out. But I don't know what it's called. Like what they're terming it out as. Yeah, I'm actually shocked at the tonal change, because I just finished the Nath. Like, so you need to go look at your quests, and if you scroll down to the ones that are blurry, it'll tell you what you need to do to unlock those quests. Some of it is you have to finish this other quest, so you go up and look and you see how to unlock that quest. And it seems like a lot of them are just node to node. Like
most of them are junctions. Most of them are unlocked through a junction, and then you'll unlock the next quest by completing whatever quest was given to you at the junction. That's what it's been for me for the most part. Like, I'll complete a junction, it'll give me a couple quests, and then one of those quests might unlock another quest. Or make another area that's open or something like that. But yeah, so like I have obviously, the next video and the next chapter of the experience so far will have probably more really high notes and also some low notes as well. But I will say, like, this has been like a really balanced experience playing this game, where like anything that there's bad that I don't like is almost immediately balanced out by something really good that I do like. And also at the exact same time, I'm starting to get more context on the game as well. I saw that there were like a lot of people that kind of gave feedback on the video that were talking about, like, saying your assumptions are off about the monetization, like how people pay for things. And I didn't realize that they do like coupons relatively quickly, or very often, sorry, where you can buy like currency for 25 to 75% off and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have spent dollars on the game so far. I've decided that I'm no longer going to spend money on the game. I'm just going to try to have something to do, farm stuff out. So
yeah, well, because you can very easily not give yourself anything to do in the game.
Yes, you can. You can. You 100% can. But so I'm going to start getting blueprints for prime, like opening relics to do get the prime blueprints. Yeah, and however else I can attain them. and then that's what I'm going to be going after. Is just primes from now on.
Okay.
I've spent the dollars. So
I have made one purchase. I made one purchase because, like, obviously I'm enjoying the game. Here's the thing: I don't have any problem with like microtransactions per se, as much as I like do like useless ones or ones that are built into like like in a predatory manner, like something that's like built to like take advantage of the player more than anything else. And you know, in that, I don't mind buying something every once in a while. So I did buy the like the $15 bundle for Dante.
Yeah,
because it was a perfect value for me. Like, it came with stuff that I needed, it came with stuff that I wanted, and then it also gave me a new frame to play with, and I didn't have anything to play with, and I needed something to play with. So I didn't mind doing that. And I also figured that, like, even if I probably chances are you can already farm, you know, Dante in game, I would imagine when they release a frame they also make it available for you to be able to get. It would probably be pretty difficult for me to be able to get that because it's probably pretty far ahead into the game. So yeah, I figured it wasn't a bad investment.
He is a very good character, very good frame. Super like self-reliant and utility for the rest of the group. He's just an amazing frame. I mean, honestly, like busted ass frame. Like, so fun to play.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and you should feel like that.
No, he's very fun. Yeah, it's actually. I will say that I'm very happy that I bought Dante, because the thing is that he, like, the frame specifically shows just how flexible the game is. Like, it shows how flexible the frame design and class design is within them, and like it's a absurdly well designed frame. Like, the look of it's really cool, but the way that its powers work and how its powers work together are insane. Like, being able to do like light verse, dark verse, light verse, you know, being able to mix that back and forth or double up in case you want to do something very specific, having these very like specific how do I say this? Instance specific things that you want to do, like, oh, you know, we're in a boss fight, it's very, you know, I could, at least that's what I'm seeing could happen, but like, oh, I'm in a boss fight, it's crazy, there's a ton of damage that's going out, I can double light verse shield the whole team, you know, give everybody over shield. Very cool, very fun, like, frame to play. The book. The book is busted. The fact that actually blew my mind, that there was actually equipment that was beyond the standard loadout. So not just like, oh, you have a melee weapon, sidearm, firearm. No, it's like, now you have a book, which also takes pistol mods.
Yes, it does. It takes pistol mods. Yes, it does. Yeah. I am loving what's going on in the chat right now. It's a lot of people saying that how many hours that they've played, and you know, oh, I've only bought skins, or I've, you know, like Form actually says he spent $60 and it has 7,000 hours in the game. Which, holy shit, that's a lot of hours. I've spent. Do you want to know how much I've spent so far? Like I said, I'm done. Do you want to know how much I spent?
You're probably, I don't know, I could see you a couple $100 in.
I've spent $235.
Yep, you have a problem.
I have a problem.
So there is actually a really interesting conversation that I do want to bring up, because I saw it in the comment section a couple times on the video.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you know, there were people that were pointing out, they're like, oh no, man, you don't understand the time gating. Like, the time gating is actually a good thing, because the time gating gives you the ability to, like, it's the developers trying to tell you to, like, take a break, go outside, and I'm like, yeah, that would work. That would work. Like, I totally understand where people are coming from with that. They're like, oh yeah, no, the time gating is not a bad thing. And I'm like, yeah. Like, I understand their perspective, where they're coming from. It's an opportunity for you to, like, have some stuff in the oven while cooking other things, and continue just churning through your foundry and stuff like that. I'm wholeheartedly right there with you, if it wasn't monetized. But the minute that it becomes monetized is the minute that I will throw that whole entire conversation about how time gating is a good thing out the window.
It's fair. I mean,
because
it is. If you've got an easy button on there, if you just pay cash.
Because regardless of what anybody says, it's exactly what you just said. You can press the money button and just get it immediately. And some people have said, they're like, oh, well, that's for the whales. That's for these, the real players. The funny thing is, the reason why I have conversations around monetization, the reason why I try to have like buyer beware videos and things like that, is specifically because those kind of mechanics are specifically designed to take advantage of the people that have, you know, less awareness, less self-control, you name it, whether it's impatience or whatever it is. It's to take advantage of the weaker people. Or and a lot of the problem is that gamers today, he's just damn gamers. The problem is that gamers today immediately view those that are paying money into those things, they classify them as whales, and then they become the enemy. Oh, that's just the whales, those fucking lazy whales, those lazy rich whales, and they just have this thing in their mind that whales are these, you know, rich people that are just wasteful and don't even really want to play games. And while sure, there might be a subset of those people, the vast majority of people that are being taken advantage by these systems are not rich people. They're poor, because poor people are terrible with money. They always have been. Yeah. So it's just, I'm sorry, but like I'm totally on board if it wasn't if the time gate wasn't monetized. But because the time gate's monetized, that means it's specifically there to be able to take advantage of people that are impatient, people that lack self-control. Simple as that. So it's like, come on, man. Like,
let me tell you my story. No, I went through and so just I would like to pretend that I was doing it for an experiment. That's what I would like to tell you. That's what I would like to say, but I'm not going to say that. So I started the game on PC a couple years ago. I think I had chosen, or I'd gotten Ember somehow. I had Ember and Vault. Those were my two when I started it back up. Started playing again. And I was like, all right, cool. And then you scroll down, and you see all these frames, and I'm like, ooh, what are those? Right? Then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna spend a little money. I'm gonna buy the basic frames that I want to try out, right? To see how which primes I want to go after. I'm gonna look at the abilities and which play styles I like, that type of deal. So I did that, and I've got all I've got them all maxed out. I've been playing a lot of Onslaught, got them all maxed out, whatever. Then Ian, I'm playing with Ian, and he goes, hey, we can get the what's it, Vauban frame. We're farming it out. So we get it. I click. We get all the stuff for it, whatever. And then I go to craft it, right? And this is one of the guys that I looked at and that I did not want. And it's 2 days for that thing to cook. That is flipping ridiculous. It is over 2 days. It was like 2 days and 17 hours. Like that is insane to me.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So here's the thing. For me this is also, keep in mind, the other thing is too, and I think this is where like a lot of players will lack perspective, especially when you're looking at people that are like veterans that have played Warframe for like hundreds of hours or thousands of hours at this point. Keep in mind, this is a new player's perspective. This is somebody that's never played Warframe before, doesn't know anything about Warframe, and I'm giving you what my opinion is on these things as somebody that lacks the context and also the desensitization that comes with playing a game for thousands of hours. From a new player's perspective, walking in the door and seeing these things, a lot of these things aren't cool. Like, just as an example, especially when it comes to the frame specifically, locking new players behind not being able to really like that's the biggest thing. Like, as a new player, all you want to do is explore. All you want to do is build things. All you want to do is try new things out. But the problem is that the way that the game is built, it prevents a new player from, one, being able to do that because it makes them take a lot of time to wait to be able to get those things because they have to wait for it to cook. They also have to farm the different materials. But also, I think what a lot of people don't realize as well is that new players don't have the context of how easy it is to get those things, where to even get those things, how to get those things, or anything like that. Just as an example, like I hear people talking about prime frames all the time. The only way that I think you can get a prime frame, at least from my perspective as a new player that knows nothing about the game, is just from getting them from relics. If I've learned, obviously, as well, that you can buy things off of the Warframe marketplace, but a new player is not going to have that kind of context. They're not going to know those kind of things. And when you're building your position and when you're building your defense off of the fact that you have 7,000 hours of playtime in the game in that kind of context, that doesn't make sense to the new player because they don't have that. And that's the problem, is that everything has to be innately designed into a game to make sense. And the reason I'm even having these conversations is because I think that Warframe's a great game, and it should be easier for newer players to get into, because you're just barring people from having an incredible experience, which Warframe is an incredible experience. It's a great game. But the problem is, as a new player, yeah, you look at a lot of these things and you're like, bro, this sucks.
It would be like, here's the thing. It would be different, I think, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, because you might be able to answer this. Like, when you first started, you first made your account, you signed in, how many frames did you get to choose between your first one?
Say that again.
How many frames did you have? How many Warframes were you able to pick between for your first one?
3.
So 3 of the what? How many are there?
It was like Vault, Mag, and Excalibur, right?
I think so. But like it being a free-to-play game, I think something that could have changed. I'm not saying to put the best frame out there for someone to just start out with, but they should give you a larger selection, because it takes so long to make the other ones as a new player that, like, you see all that there and it's almost overwhelming. You know what I mean? Of what you're gonna do.
If I had to fix Warframe's new player issues, I'll tell you, here's 2 things that I would do. 1, all 3 frames are locked at the beginning. You pick one that you start with, but the other 2 frames, they're already in your order. They're already in your ship when you get back to the screen. That gives players 3 frames to try out, which just about everybody probably has those frames to begin with. They're not difficult to get. I would imagine they're not difficult to get, but that gives them 3 different frames to try. That gives them 3 different frames to level, and that gives them more flexibility, and also gives them a little bit more time before they start feeling like they need to get into a different frame.
Yeah,
I would probably do something. And here's the thing. And also, with those 3 frames should come the weapons already. Now, I realize that there's probably going to be people that are going to pop up in chat. Well, you can just buy the weapons off of the marketplace for credits. True. And I get that. However, new player, not going to have that context. They're just going to be walking in being like, why can't I find any weapons in this game? Why can't I find anything? Why haven't I found any? Like, because I'm telling you, this is what my experience was as somebody that lacked the context. And new players, by the way, here's the other thing. New players don't use wikis. They'll use YouTube, but YouTube, I'll be honest with you, YouTube guides can be hit or miss. And more times than not, when I've looked at a couple, because there's been a couple times that I'll check other content creators, check their guides and see how they do. And one of the problems is that when you're a veteran player, you have a really hard time understanding the perspective. Like, this goes back to the conversation we've been having. When you're a veteran player, you have a hard time understanding what the context is or what the perspective is of a new player, because they just don't have the information that you do.
Yeah.
And when you're speaking from a position with that much information, it's really easy to let out too much and overwhelm the player.
Yeah. I mean, as a veteran, for veteran players, I'm not as a veteran player, but veteran players, they've been playing it for so long that all of the added systems are not like new to them. You know what I mean? They know them. And then there's a lot of nuance with all these systems that you have to deal with inside the game. Now, to comment on what you're saying, if they give them all 3 frames right off the bat, and I'm not saying those frames are bad. That's not what I'm saying. It's like saying, okay, you see this page full of frames, and you get to pick one of 3 of these. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of it kind of adds that out. And then on top of that, when you were talking about the weapons, now that's blocked behind mastery, which is time gated. So there's weapons that they can't get to because it's time gated in itself.
Yeah.
And that's something that you can't pay for. Don't get me wrong, I know there are prime weapons that you can buy on the market for cash, and it'll unlock whatever mastery it's at for it, just for allow you to use the gun. But for the most part, like I said, it's pretty. I wouldn't say it's arm twisting you into the pay model, but it's definitely holding the door open for it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The other thing is too, what I would probably do as well is that I would include quests, or more quests at least, that would give you like the opportunity to like set me on more quests to make me build things. Set me on a quest to build a frame. Like, and by the way, here's the thing. I'm not, because I've done the Limbo quest, and I think there was another one as well. There's a couple different ones where they set you out to actually go and farm or go out and do these missions to be able to get the blueprints for it. I'm saying have a quest that has you do the whole thing, start to finish. Go find the blueprints. After you found the blueprints, now the next leg of the quest is go and farm the materials. Then the next leg of the quest is put them in the foundry and cook it. And after it's made, then the quest is unlocked, and then maybe give the player some currency or something like that as a reward for completing it. And what you'll do with that is you'll actually train a player on how to go do those things, what to look for, all those different things. But the problem is that like that kind of thing doesn't exist in the game, and as such, that lack of context. I mean, you get dropped onto that ship, and the game is just like good luck.
Yeah, I'm in to know. No. So like, and I have to give credit to this game, Horizon, both Forbidden West and Horizon Dawn. They have a mechanic that you can, when you're at a vendor and there's something that you want and you don't have the parts for it, you can literally click on it and it will make a quest for it. I'm talking with a waypoint and all for you to go get the materials for it, whatever, what you're needing for that deal, which is super, super cool. I think more games should have that, to be honest with you. I do like that they added, like, just because when I first started playing the game on Xbox way back when the game was brand new, it, like, if you had like a quest to do, you still had to figure out where it was on the planet, on the which node and all that stuff. Them adding that quest button and it just automatically takes you to the next step of it is super like quality of life awesomeness. So
yeah. So yeah, I realize, I think Wings of Pestilence brought up that there's a couple more quests that actually have you go like hunt for frames and stuff like that. And I think that and by the way, again, there was a Limbo quest that I've done. I haven't done the Inaros one yet. I do have Gara's frame, and you have the blueprint. Just the like there's a couple ones like I have Gara's blueprint, but I'm talking about here's like actually kind of similar to the Limbo quest where it's like, hey, gather them so you can go get this part. Now gather them so you can go get this part, and then now send the person on a mission to go get the other materials that they need to be able to make it and things like that. And have that early in the game, because then you can train the player and give them some type of guidance on what to do with that. And I also saw somebody said, well, they tell you about it in game. No, they don't. No, they don't. I've gone through all the tutorial things and all that stuff. And while it does vaguely give you an idea, I'm saying that for new players, one, you have to keep in mind that a vast majority of players don't read.
Read? What's that?
They don't read. Yeah, the vast majority of players are not sitting there reading menus or anything like that. And you need to literally give a step-by-step for some of these things to be able to make it. I also saw somebody say something like they've been doing plenty for the new player experience, but they need to do more for the end game. They need to do both.
Yeah.
The live service games have a responsibility to do both, because you can continue. You want me to give me a really good example of a game that pays attention to the end game and doesn't pay attention to the new player experience? World of Warcraft.
No.
That's what your game becomes if all you do is pay attention to the end game and continue to just appease the people that have been playing the game for, hundreds or thousands of hours.
Yeah.
That's not what you want.
No.
That's not what you want.
Not for a live service by any means.
No. MMO light, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter. But yeah.
And I think Warframe is pretty huge. Like there's a lot of people who actively play the game. If they did make some like, Path of Exile is a prime example of that. If they make a few changes to help a new player, I don't know, just the feel of the game, not feeling so like, hey, you should probably look into buying stuff with real money type time frames on stuff. I think I think they could probably grow at least a quarter to half more people, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a fun game, dude. It's an awesome game. It runs great. I mean, a few bugs. I mean, I got stuck in a wall once. Other than that,
you're gonna have stuff like that happen. It's not that big of a deal, to be honest.
When you're speed running with Goss and then you fucking barrel roll and it sticks you in between these two pipes, I kind of expected it to happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. But outside of that, I mean, everything else has been stellar, dude. Everything else has been absolutely stellar.
The game is so good.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with it so far. It's been an absolute blast to play. I didn't foresee myself getting hooked on a live service game outside of Helldivers 2. Because you know me, I really haven't been big on live service games for a long time.
No, neither one of us.
But like, especially now, like out on like Saturn and stuff, now I'm getting into like some of these later runs when you're doing like survive missions and stuff, and you're getting enemies up to like 30, level 40 and stuff like that. Game starts feeling really good.
Oh, it does. It
starts feeling really good.
It feels good when I jump into a group, because I love the melee. I mean, I like shooting too, but I love the melee, and to just jump in a group and it not just instantly just wipe them out. Like I literally have to like bounce from one to one. I feel like a little bit like Jet Li in there, like just chopping the shit out of people. And then like I get that from Onslaught. Like once you get to, for me personally, where my frames are at right now, like level like zone 5 or 6, they start to get a little beefier. And that's when you're like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna have to play smart. I can't just be a space ninja right now. I really need to figure out what I'm doing and use my skills like I'm supposed to. So
yeah. Now, there's tons of times now where like even playing as Dante, like I want to keep my buffs up and stuff like that, because if I don't, then just primary fire only isn't going to be enough to be able to drop something by itself. Yep. And I have pretty decent mods and stuff like that too. So like I mean, not fantastic mods like some of the people probably have at the end game that you can probably try to farm for, but
the ribbon mods and stuff like that.
Yeah. So far so good. Like this is feeling wise. Here's the thing, like when I was talking about before with like difficulty, like feeling wise, this is what I wanted. Where it's like now I feel like Darkverse with Dante is such a strong skill. But I wouldn't have known. But here's the thing: if I would have played Dante 30 hours ago, I wouldn't have known, because everything dies in one hit. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now when I can like literally look at one side of the screen and just slash my hand across it and everything dies. Oh man, it feels so good. It's so good.
It does.
Dante
just feels good to play. He just like his mobility's not bad. His just everything. His abilities are great. It's just he's just a fun frame.
Yeah. And like now,
has he been your favorite so far?
Oh yeah, by a long shot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get me wrong, I still like Vault, because like the movement and attack speed is like really fun, especially when you like, go into I call it my devil trigger mode, and I just do my attack speed and movement speed bonus, and then I just slash and like dash slash across the map over and over again, just cutting everything in half. That stuff is that's really fun. And I really like these, like, I really like how well the game does this balance between attack and support for just about every single frame. Like every frame has a benefit for the party, and I really like that.
Dude, it's amazing. It's amazing when you look at a game like this versus a game like Destiny. And you brought it up, like, but this game, I think it's on the chat, they said they have 55 frames. All of them feel unique. You know what I mean? Every one of them feels unique. Every one of them feels different. And then you go to Destiny, and they could only come up with 3 in 15 years between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 or whatever it is. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sorry, there's 57 frames. My bad. I mean, that is like hyper impressive. Like it just amazes me. Each one of them's different.
Yeah, and I mean, this goes back to what I was talking about before when we were just like, Mark and I were playing Warframe last night, and we were playing it. We were kind of going back and forth, and we're talking. And like one of the things I said was just like, with how long Destiny 2 has been out, like, how do you guys only have 3 classes and none of them really even feel all that unique or different from one another? Like, yeah, like they have a different grenade ability,
a different jump,
but like all that time, all that money, and you guys couldn't make any more classes. Yet Warframe over here, an actual free-to-play game, not a free-to-try game like Destiny 2, has 57 different frames, all of them with their own identity. Some of them even have probably all of them have their own story and stuff like that attached to them. They've got
their own lore. Yeah,
and like they all feel incredibly unique. Yet at the exact same time, they all seem to work really well, relatively between frame to frame and parties together and things like that. And that's cool. That's great. That's great to see that this game can pull it off. sad to see that.
I think
Others
I can't. I don't know her name. It's either Zypher or Zafira, however it's pronounced. Might be the ugliest Warframe in the entire game. I'm talking base skin. Like I've seen some cool skins for her. That's great, but like her base skin, you go to try to color it, it is awful. It is awful. Like it is terrible. There you go, Zypher. Yeah, it is awful. Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So I will say, like, now like the one thing I wish that part of me wishes that there was a better indicator on the HUD that would tell me like what frames people are using, because like sometimes I see people using a frame and I'm like, what is that? That's cool. I like what they're doing, but then I don't know how to like figure out what frame that is. I'd imagine that it's probably in my like escape menu or something like that. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. I tried out Hildred, the one with the thick ass thighs.
Yeah.
Last night, and I'm actually really enjoying it. Is it Hildred?
Yeah.
I'm really
I have
enjoying
I think I have like four or five frames cooking right now. I have I farmed out Hydroid, Nova, Frost, and there's another one.
I think it was Vauban, wasn't it?
Yeah, Boban. Yeah. So I have a bunch of frames that are cooking right now. So I have more frames to level up, which will be really cool. Got some weapons that are cooking right now, some melee and stuff. I'm now in that good grind where I've actually gotten a feel for, like, you know, I've started to get myself into a position in which I can start to like recognize, like, oh, I need to get more you know, I need to get more things cooking. You know what I mean? Like, I need to get more things in the foundry. So I've been going back and forth trying to make sure that I always have something running in the foundry while I'm working on leveling other stuff. Now I'm in that grind. The problem is that it took me, you know, a long time to be able to get to that point. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why I had, you know, I guess, and you know, the opinions of some pretty harsh opinions on that at the very beginning. But outside of that, it was
mixed trepidation. Yeah, like, I'm sorry, I saw it in the chat and I didn't get to mention it. That's right, I did. I checked the Vauban after. I checked it this morning to see where it was at, because I put it in yesterday. It was a 3-day ordeal. It's a 3-day ordeal.
Yeah.
That's just it's just a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. 3 days is a long time.
It's a long time. It's not
bad it's not bad if you're working.
Yeah, that's true.
Because like for you can put some stuff in there, you know,
and then
before
forget about it. Yeah,
and then forget about it, and then come back, you know, after the work week and play. You know what I mean?
Like, oh, look at that.
Yeah. But for me, as somebody that's like wanting to make like YouTube content and stuff like that, like it's tough, because it's like, well, I can't really like, I also can't like afford to invest into the game like that either. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, no, it's been good. And then I saw somebody also said that there's a chat command /unstuck. It'll reset your character if you get stuck again.
What? There's what?
Most MMOs have a command.
Oh yes, yeah.
/unstuck will get you unstuck.
Are you effing kidding me? Well, doesn't matter. It didn't matter.
No.
Yes, we know about the battleships. I don't think the rail ships. I don't think we've done them yet.
The what now?
The rail ship. I think it's called a rail. Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
It's a ship that it's a 4-man team ship that fly around in space and shoot stuff, and then like the other frames can jump out and do stuff in space and then come back in the ship.
Thanks for
it's a real thing.
It.
Oh, Railjack. That's what it is. See,
thanks for
see. I love all of the chat just fixing my boomer brain, and I love you for it. Thank you. It's words and it rhymes with Y'all got it? Okay.
I'll have to pretend like I didn't hear that or understand what you're talking about.
What do you mean pretend you didn't hear that? It's on your screen.
Now is.
It's been on your screen.
The game
screen.
The game has never directed me to do any of that before.
If it does, if you look at the top right-hand corner, right underneath all the other bullshit, the little
I would guarantee there's a point in which they send me to go do a quest in that, and I just haven't gotten to that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, Warframe has been really cool. I've been having a lot of fun with it. yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. There's definitely been some like really cool surprises. The Arcwing was definitely a really cool surprise. That was really fun. Space missions and stuff. Kind of reminds me of oh, man. So it kind of reminds me like it gives me that like Zone of the Enders itch.
Yeah, a little bit. It handles surprisingly well. Like for what it is, it really does handle surprisingly well.
Yeah, yeah. So that's been really fun. And I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I'm slowly but surely unlocking other systems and stuff like that in the game. Obviously, we just had footage on screen of me doing the onslaughts, which is really good for like leveling stuff, right? That's what it's there for, is to like level stuff pretty quickly, which is really cool. So that's been a lot of fun. Yeah. And yeah, so that's been really good. That's been really good. So did you get the doggo pet? Yeah, actually. So what did I get? I need to get more pets. The problem is like all I have is just like the first dog pet that they send you to go get and then make, and then I have the taxon, the thing that follows me. I don't have anything else outside of that though.
Yeah. I do. I want to make a robot dog. Doggo.
Yeah. Do I have the K drive? Yeah, that was in the video. The at the end of the video, I was doing tricks in the first Warframe video. Yeah, I got that. I did all the K drive quests to get the Ureli blueprint.
Is that the one where you have to do the unlock the comic strip for that little kid or the pages? Yeah. I just can't bring myself to do that quest. I just can't. I went and talked to him and they just annoyed me so much. I was like, yeah, I'm going back to the ship, and I just went to the next quest. Like I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah, the Wave Riders, that's who it is. Yeah, it's not bad. Like, there's literally all you got to do is you just leave Fortuna, and then if you just go, like, take a left right outside the gate, there's a perfect place to literally do all the tricks and get all the points and do everything you need to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna. I thought it was gonna be like you had to like do like certain shit. Like I was just like
Yeah. And then there's also that I did the quest on Deimos. Then I did the thing where you get into like a necromech, and then the guy gave me like the stuff to use them to make a necromech, or the blueprints to make it, but I have no idea what it's for. I don't know how to get it. I don't know why I need it or anything like that.
Yeah,
I'm like that's one of the things I'm like, man, the game really needs to do a better job of like. I'm sure when that content came out, it was the information was available for it because people probably talked about it leading up to it, and the developers probably talked about it leading up to it. But for me, it's just like, I don't know, like, what do I need this for? Do I need? How do I even get it? It doesn't even tell you.
Okay, so I want to ask the chat, since there's a lot of people who are like obvious veterans. Okay, what the actual fuck are those people on Demios? Like, what are they? If it's gonna be like a story spoiler for me, I get it. Don't say anything. But like what the fuck are they?
I don't know. Like,
are they gods? Are they?
They seem like it. Like when I went there and I talked to them, it almost also sounded like they were the people that made us. They're Oricans.
Okay.
So they are
the original. Okay.
They are the people that made the Warframes. Yeah, because if I'm pretty sure, at least that's from what I understand, is that the Oricans were made, or the Warframes are made by the Orican.
They're Orican, but with space aids.
Yeah.
Like that.
Because one of them brought it to the planet because he wanted attention.
Yeah, because he was throwing a tantrum. They had like a weird like Resident Evil 7 family dynamic that I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Like go talk to this person. They're like 2 steps away and like, fuck that bitch, I ain't talking to her. And I'm like, oh, okay, she's right there. I can see her from here.
Yeah.
So she heard you.
She's literally around the corner. So that's been really good. Obviously I'll share more about the journey, and we'll continue to talk about it as I continue to play through the game, and that's been a lot of fun and really good. So there's also been some so one of the things I wanted to talk about today as well is there's some really interesting stuff that's going on with Helldivers 2 right now.
Yeah, as you can see, Matt in the chat has yelled out 3 times, "What is Helldivers on the verge of?" I don't know. I didn't name the thumbnail.
It's on the verge of. I don't know. Like, on the verge of something. I just don't exactly know what the direction of the game is going to go in right now, because So, if you guys have been following any of the news relating to Helldivers 2 lately or have seen anything on it, one of the things that's been popping up is, people are starting to get a little bit impatient when it comes to like the stabilization of the game, and then also like the company trying to do their best to be able to balance the stabilization of Helldivers 2 with the fact that they have a very limited amount of people. Right?
Yeah,
they don't have a very big dev team.
No, and Joel, basically, I read an article. I actually read like 3 or 4 different articles today. He basically said that it's he doesn't think it's a good practice to fix the game and not add content, right? Because that's what everybody's saying. It's like, hey, stop giving us cool stuff, just fix the game. And he's like, no, I want to keep giving you cool stuff.
That's not Joel, by the way. You're talking about Johan Pielstead. You're talking about the CEO. Yeah.
Sorry. Like it's not a good trade-off.
No. So like there's a couple problems with that. Like one, like if you so basically lately one of the conversations has been popping up recently is that players are like, just fix the game. You don't need to add in any more content. And it's just like, I don't think you guys understand the reason why Helldivers 2 is still sitting at over 200,000 players concurrently on Steam, which is absurd at this point. It's now 3 months or more past the date that the game came out, and it's still that healthy on Steam. That's crazy.
It's healthy. That's
crazy. That's not just healthy. It's one of the most played games on Steam.
Yeah,
it's not a PvP game. That's absurd.
And it is absurd, and it's healthy.
So so one of the things that's going on with that is that players are saying, hey, it's time maybe you guys take a step back from the content and just fix the issues that the game has, because the game, and I've been talking about this stuff for a while. A lot of people don't really like me talking about it, but the game has problems. Still to this point, you cannot use fire weapons. Like if your fire damage does not work unless you're the host.
That's some old Gears of War type bullshit right there.
Yeah, so like if you joined me, Mark, and you brought a flamethrower, it wouldn't work.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
That's a problem. Like there's stuff like that, and there's misalignment with scopes where shots aren't being placed where shots are supposed to go. There's a whole other slew of issues and things like that. People are still having problems with friends list. People are still having problems with crashing. There's a ton of stuff, a lot of things that they really need to work on for this game. However, a lot of that has taken the backseat because one of the reasons why is specifically because it came out that the developers ended up telling everyone, the people that are designing the stuff for the new like war bonds, so like the seasonal content, are the same people that are doing bug fixes. So keep in mind, when you have a lot of people that are wearing multiple hats like that, what that means is that 1 minute that they take away from doing one thing is one less minute that's being spent on the other thing. So there's a trade-off no matter what. And when you have a smaller studio like Arrowhead Studios, you're not going to be able to have the flexibility to be able to get everything done all at once. This is a 100-person studio. This isn't, using this as an example, we're talking specifically about like live service games. Look at the most popular ones that are out there. Look at Call of Duty Warzone. They have 4 studios. I think 4. Treyarch, Iron.
Oh, they at the time almost every
Treyarch, Sledgehammer, Raven, and
no. They have more than
Infinity
that. Almost
Ward.
every studio that was under Activision has or is working on Call of Duty games.
Right.
They've literally shut down every other project for Activision. They are literally just working on Call of Duty games. So every studio under that umbrella is Call of Duty.
So yeah. So like, and when you have that many people, that gives you the amount of flexibility to be able to have one studio that's literally just sitting there doing nothing but one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have one that's working on game balance, another team that's working on game security. You have another team that's working on monetization and like microtransactions and seasonal content. You have another group of people that are, you can actually have teams that are specifically on those specific tasks, and that's it. However, when you have a small studio like like Arrowhead, you don't have that kind of flexibility.
No.
Now I saw somebody just said, if they're seeing so much success, couldn't they just hire more hands to tackle the bug fixes? How long would that take? And here's the other. Okay. From a business perspective, I'm just going to say this. Yes, they can, and they are hiring people, but you have to train those employees. You have to like induct them into your business and actually like they don't use an engine that every other game studio is using, so they can't necessarily just sit down and just start working day one once they're hired. They're probably going to take a month or more to be able to train, to be able to get them in the position in which they can actually tackle some of the things that the company needs to get done. Two, the other thing is that you also need to not just hire anybody. You need to hire people that you actually want to have in the first place. And three, they're a studio they're Swedish, I believe. So it depends on how many people they even have in their country that are available in that job market to be able to work for them as well.
Yeah.
Four, the other thing is that you also don't want to overhire right now, because the last thing you want to do is hire more people on, and then all of a sudden you have to lay people off because the game is going to scale down in its popularity, because that's what these kind of games do after a while regardless. So there's a lot of different barriers to entry for that. It's not just as simple as being like, just hire more people. Like, and they have, by the way, they have hired more people. But the problem is that it takes a while for you to be able to find the people that you need. It takes you a while to be able to train those people. It takes a while for them to be able to get used to the engine that you're using, and then also figure out exactly, where you want those people, how you're going to be able to use that manpower, all of those different kind of things. It's not just as simple as just hire more people. And I think that's one of the problems is that, like, as strictly as consumers, we'll look at things like that and think that the solution is so simple when it's not.
Yeah. I like in the comments, a lot of people are saying, hire another team to do. Okay, that's fine, but just for aspect. So we're like 115 days into the year, and they've already had the industry as a whole, gaming industry's had like 8,900 layoffs.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
It's
also
a lot
of people.
So I saw so Nixie just said, Ian, that was the CEO's excuse from month one. 100%. Here's the thing: we don't have to be understanding. I'm just telling you
Kevin.
I'm just telling you what realistically what the issue is. What the issue is that you have a small country with a small population base that also needs to hire developers on a scale that they don't really exactly know what that scale is, because they had a game that was released to a mass appeal that they were not expecting, a major success that they were not expecting. And now all of a sudden you need to be able to ramp up, but you have to do it in a responsible way, because if you don't do it responsibly, then you're going to be laying off people, and you're going to be doing exactly what most of these companies do and get the finger pointed at them all the time for doing the wrong thing. And that's not what they want.
Yeah,
now, on top of that,
the other bad guy right now at all.
No. And here's the other thing too. Here's the other thing. I would guarantee that everybody here, well, I wouldn't guarantee, but most people here, I would imagine, have had a job. How many times have you guys worked for a company and it took forever to be able to get a replacement for somebody in a specific position? And the only way for that company to be able to get a replacement was for them to be able to, typically promote somebody if they have the opportunity to, which means then they have to bring in somebody that's on the lower end. They have to get somebody that's a rookie or whatever to come in at a lower job to be able to fill that seat. Well, if you don't have the people to be able to, because game development doesn't work like that. You don't take the guy that's a systems designer and now he gets promoted and now he's a fucking weapon designer. That's not how the industry works. People have very, very specialized roles in these companies, very specialized things that they've been trained on, that they've learned to do, that they have skills at doing. So it makes it even more difficult for you to find people for your position, not even just adding into the fact of like how limited they are by their geography as well. So yeah, it's just like, don't get me wrong, 100% is not an excuse that they can continue to lean on. And also on the exact same time, as a customer, we don't have to give a shit about their excuse because we paid money for the game. And I'm wholeheartedly on the side of the consumer when they say, I don't give a shit. Okay, cool, don't play the game. And that's the response. The response is don't play it.
I was talking to Drake. We went to Dunkin' Donuts this morning, and he was talking about possible positions for him in a management position at where he's at. And he's like, you know what? He was, I'd really like to do QA. And I was like, yeah, I was just doing that thought process. And then I thought about it. I was like, just in video games, most of these people that got laid off were like testers and QA people. There's a lot of them. What other industry can you get by without any QA testing or QA in general? Not many, because all of them, like none of them. Food, people die. Medical supplies, people die. You know what I mean? But like for them, in the video game industry, they can get rid of them and then sell you a shit product.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like they don't need to have QA. They need to have QA because QA is super necessary. But for the most part, many of these studios now are getting to the point where they'll have like limited QA, and it's okay. And they'll have like a list of things that they'll probably say are acceptable bugs or acceptable issues that the game can have before it's released, which is just crazy to say out loud.
It is,
but it's true. Like
it's crazy.
Here's the list of acceptable issues. Performance problems, 60 frames per second. They'll have a whole list of things in a priority list and say these things are good. This is what we think is acceptable to sell to players, and this is what we don't think. But yeah, that's just the nature of the industry.
You know what? Not to get too far off topic, but while I was playing No Rest for the Wicked, when you're playing it, you can clearly tell that it is a console game. It is built for like a console. I mean, controls, everything. It's just
it's made by the people that made Ori.
Yeah.
So,
but they're using Steam Early Access PC to be fund it and be its QA.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, and here's the thing too. Like early access is quite literally, in a lot of cases, companies now monetizing their QA.
Yeah, invested QA.
Yeah. That's really, you'll see that with a lot of these companies. That's not always what they're aiming to do. It does help, but for the most part, like the vast majority, a lot of these companies are using, they're just like, why would we pay QA testers when people will pay us to be QA testers?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's sad, but it is what it is. So now continuing on with like the Helldivers 2 stuff, the other thing is too to keep in mind is that like they've done some really interesting things lately. We talked about this a little bit on one of my last live streams, but one of the things that kind of caught me off guard, and I can't really pull it up right now because I'm using Discord to have Mark on the screen in the first place, but they started polling players. So they started asking the players directly, saying, "Hey, what do you want us to do? And how do you feel about the game?" The first poll that they put out was, how do you feel about the game? And, the vast majority of players, I think like 80%. You're a fan? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Your mic's picking it up.
You can hear it? I'm sorry, my bad. Better?
Yeah. So the vast majority of players voted that they were having a really good time with the game. I think it was like over 60 or 70% or something like that. I'll have to check it again to make sure what the numbers were. But the vast majority of players, no, I take that back. It was like 50 some odd percent were saying, love the game. The game's great. Having a great time. And then a similar portion of players, like I say under 50%, it was like 40 some odd percent, said still having fun with the game, but not as much fun at the beginning. So, like, I'm having a good time, but my interest is waning. The other one that they asked were, what would you like to see us do moving forward? One was like, more weapons, more this, more that, more stratagems. Another one was, some other things similar to that, more armor and things like that. Another one was more variety in gameplay type. So more different types of missions, different planets to visit, things like that. Like more variety of environments, more variety of enemies, more variety of mission types, similar to the tower defense one. Did you ever get the chance to do that one?
I don't think so.
So they did a tower defense mission, which is really sick. It was super cool. And then they also have done like the termicide control one as well, which is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. I do personally want to see more of that kind of stuff because that I think is probably one of the better ways to be able to keep people's interest in the game. But beyond that, the other thing that they asked at the very bottom was no new content, just fix the game. And most of the people were torn between that and the more missions. Now, what I find really interesting about that is that games don't usually ask those kind of questions to their audience. And this is one of the first times that I've seen a game poll their players in a way like that with that kind of context. Usually it's like, what kind of, usually bug fixes, no new content is never a option in a poll like that. You know what I mean? Like in this case, one of the like, so like the point of the reason why I threw it in the title of today's video is like I feel like they're on the verge of making like a massive like shift in how they're going to develop and how they're going to support this game moving forward, because they're at a very critical junction in the life of Helldivers 2 right now, which is, you know, do you invest in trying to keep over 200,000 players actively playing on Steam, which probably means there's like 300,000 or 400,000 players that are playing across Steam and PlayStation.
Yeah.
Right?
You do.
So do you invest in that, and do you really try to swing for the fences and try to make sure that you can, you know, retain that kind of audience? Is it even possible to retain that kind of audience for a game like this? And then
Joel, I did read this, and it was Joel, said that they are literally working on making this the best live service game ever. That's it.
Was Johan Pielstedt, the CEO, again.
Okay. You sure? Because I'm pulling up the
Yes.
article right now.
Go ahead.
Continue. And go big screen.
I only know because I'm writing a video on this, and I literally have his quote. So
okay, so it was him. It was Johan Schmeichel who said that.
Jesus.
Where was it? Never mind. Big screen.
Yeah. So yeah. So my opinion on this whole thing is that like they're at a really critical junction right now where they have to figure out exactly what path they want to take forward. And I'm not really too sure what the best choice for them to do is, because like they need to like handle everything, but at the same time, like, I don't know, man. Even me, like personally, like I love the game and I want it to continue to succeed. I love the community for the game. I want it to be an incredibly popular game. But is like 300,000 or 400,000 concurrent players for a game like Helldivers 2 really realistic without people getting bored? You know what I mean? Like it's a PvE game. Like it is fun. It is a blast. It's a whole lot of fun. I love playing the game. But like I'm just wondering if like in today's market with the amount of you know, like how heavy things are with PvP games and MMOs and stuff like that, things that have a different kind of progression, like you know, more vertical progression, I guess.
Oh, sorry, my daughter's dog.
Yeah, here I'll make sure chat can see. There you go. Chat gets a dog moment.
She's a pretty girl. Yes, she is. Smart dog.
You get to like trim up your screen now, which is good too.
Anywho,
yeah. I just needed to. So yeah. I don't know, man. It's that like they're on the verge of making a really big decision with the future of the game, and I'm really interested to see what they're gonna do. I really do like the fact that they're activating their player base though, and they're getting them involved. They're going, hey, what are the things that are, because here's the thing, they're not going to listen to us. They're not going to do what we tell them, but they are going to listen, and they're going to go, they're going to listen to us, but they're not going to do what we say. What they're going to do is they're going to go, these are the things that the players are the most, these are the things that the most players are interested in. And that's what they're going to do. Because those are the things that they realize that we need to appeal to the larger section of the audience, the people that are the most engaged in what they need to be able to keep them in the game the longest. Yeah. And if that is new mission types, new planets, and also at the exact same time fixing the game, they're just gonna have to do both.
Yeah. No, honestly, for a live service game, they're gonna have to do both. Because eventually people are gonna get tired of the stuff not working. I mean, eventually the charm's going to wear off. It's the same way people are with Bethesda games now. They used to be 5 times more forgiving with Bethesda. Oh, that's that Bethesda charm. Starfield came out and they're like, you know what? I'm over it. I've had enough. It's it's the same crap over and over and over again. But for them to sustain an audience, they have to do both. They have to constantly bring out content, and they need to start fixing stuff as they go instead of letting it just. And it seems like almost every time that they put something in, something else breaks.
So I always have this one chatter, Floomy, who like 90% of the time just says like the most random things possible in chat. Literally, like talking to himself. literally, literally talking to themselves sometimes. But then, like sometimes, sometimes a gem just slips out. A Mazda MX-5 wasn't built on a committee, and it's like, you know what? Actually, funny enough, the Ford Fusion was built on a committee. That's still one of like the coolest. I wrote a paper on it. There was a old Ford CEO that came in to basically save Ford when Ford was faced with bankruptcy, because you remember Ford was the only one to not take the Obama bailout.
Yeah,
it was the only American car manufacturer not to take the bailout when every other car manufacturer did.
Yep.
And the reason why they did was because they made the Ford Fusion, and the story of the Ford Fusion is actually sick, and I'm going to share it because I think it's really cool. So basically what the CEO realized is that none of the whether or not you think the Fusion is lame, it doesn't really matter. It sold a ton, and the car's been relatively popular when it first came out, right? But the story of it's really cool because the guy came in and he realized that, you know, they have factories and like R&D all over the world, right? They have them in China, they have them in Europe, they have them in, you know, South America, they have them in the US and Canada. And what they found out was none of the R&D folk were talking to one another. They were all always working on their own individual projects. So the CEO came up with this idea for one Ford, which is like bring everybody together, have everybody. He expatted a bunch of people, so like went around and like selected people from different manufacturing hubs and sent them and paid them more money to go work at other places. Like took R&D people that were working on different cars and set them at different places and said, hey, we'll pay you an extra $50,000 a year if you go and work at our, you know, place in, you know, Germany or wherever for a year, or, you know, et cetera, and just started sending out all these people. And then they all started doing this whole like conference call thing. And then he basically was like, I want all of our R&D teams across the world to work on one car together. And that's how the Ford Fusion was made. And it like, because literally they like, I think like the back end of the car is from like the Jaguar. I think another part of the car is from like the Mustang and stuff. And you can actually see like the full breakdown where you can see like basically every single manufacturer's like, you know, handprint,
yeah.
you know, their fingerprint on the development of the car. It's just sick. It's just a really cool story of like bringing a company together and also like avoiding bankruptcy and stuff like that. They're just yeah.
The new Ford Fusion looks like an Aston Martin DB9 from Walmart.
Walmart, yeah. Well, I mean it's a Ford, so I don't know what you expect it to look like. They're supposed to be affordable cars, not or at least more affordable than most. So, but yeah, it's just a cool story. But with that said, I mean, like reflecting on said story. Sorry to get all business school on you guys, but reflecting on said story, you know, activating as many people as you possibly can to solve the issues that a game faces is something that's going to bring that game to a better future. And I think this is a really smart path for them to take, is to really, you know, engage. They've already been really engaged with their audience, more so than I think any other game that I've seen in recent history outside of maybe grinding gear games with Path of Exile.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, what do you think about all this?
Like I said, they really have to work harder to make a Ford Fusion. Maybe their next car should be. Oh, you mean about the game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe you talked about Ford Fusion.
It was cool. It's a cool story. I give a shit.
No, it's just like I said. They need to find the balance to do both. Like it's hard. It's hard to say, hey guys, y'all have been putting up content at an amazing neck break speed pace. Like it's been amazing how much content they put out. Stop putting out content and fix the game. You know what I mean? Like it's so they're gonna have to find that balance. And I saw in the chat someone was talking about, an insider was telling them that the game's gonna be coming to Xbox. I guarantee at some point this game will come to Xbox.
Oh, for sure. Why would you leave that money on the table?
It makes it like I can guarantee it's going to happen. I mean, they already sell. Like people say, well, it's because of Sony. Well, Sony's home studio makes the show, the baseball game, and it is on Game Pass. Like it.
Well, but that's an MLB choice.
Yeah,
That was
I
Major
get
League
it.
Baseball that was like, hey, we're sick of you guys selling this only on your console.
But it's the same principle, because Sony doesn't own this studio. They're just in partnership with the publishing. They don't own the studio. That's an article that's floating out there too, talking about how all that works. So I do see this game coming to Xbox at some point, which is going to be another shot in the arm for it, because Xbox has no games.
So here's the thing though. So I'm all for like insider information and shit like that, but at the exact same time,
rumors.
Here's the thing. It's I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock in it, because the only outlets that I've even seen touch the conversation is comicbooks.com and Gamer Rant, which tells me that likely whoever and whatever the sources of said information is probably some Xbox fan site that was like, I heard that Xbox is in talks with Sony. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. If you guys have ever gone on Twitter and looked at anything Xbox related or just console related in general, it's like 90% cope pages. It's all cope. It's just yeah. I saw somebody repost today. There it is, guys. The proof. Xbox is beating PlayStation. And I look, and like the article is posted from like, it's literally a fan journalist site. Yeah. I don't know. There it is. There's the proof, guy. Oh no. It was Screen Rant. Screen Rant was the one that posted an article saying that Xbox. I'm like, Screen Rant is like it's fandom. It's a fandom page where it literally I could sign up for Screen Rant and post an article. And I could say whatever I want. Today, I heard that Xbox's Phil Spencer said that Microsoft is going to sell the entire company to Nintendo. Insider information. Yeah, it's from an Xbox podcast on YouTube. Exactly, yeah, right? Nixie. Probably that was the other thing, too. Xbox era. That's where the rumor came from, Mark.
Oh, shit. Wow.
The most refutable source on the internet.
He's an insider. Like, we are. We're insiders.
I'm inside my house. Wait, who's on Xbox era?
I don't know. I don't watch that shit.
I don't know. I don't watch that. I don't watch
that fucking trash.
I'm sorry. Like, there's some good dudes that are in those like console centric podcasts and like information hubs and stuff. But I'll be honest with you guys. I just think it's cringe. Because it's mostly like console war conversations more than anything else.
It is awful.
You know what I mean? If you're an Xbox, like every Xbox podcast is talking about Sony, and every Sony podcast is talking about Xbox. Yeah. So goofy.
No, yeah, so goofy. So Sony owns the IP rights to Helldivers, but they do not own the studio. So it's kind of like when Bungie was making Halo. Microsoft didn't own Bungie. They just owned actually they didn't even own Halo until they bought Halo from Bungie. So
So one of the things that you can say with that though is that in these conversations lately that's been going on with Helldivers 2, one of the things that people brought up specifically is how my brain's all over the place today. Sorry. One of the things that they brought up were the like shareholder interests, right? People are like, oh, well, they can't stop making war bonds because if they don't make a war bond for a month, they have like contractual issues with their shareholders and Sony and stuff. Now, here's the thing. They do have a obligation to Sony. They do.
Yes, they do.
So they do have to give Sony like sales projections, because Sony does get a cut of the microtransactions and all that good stuff. So obviously there is a obligation on their part to make sure that they're doing what they can to increase the monetization of the game to pay Sony and fill their pockets. Okay, that is part of the whole thing. But at the same time, Sony doesn't hold the reins, and also at the exact same time, the company is self-owned. The people that work at the company are the people that own the company. So I think what people need to realize as well is like they are also inclined themselves to make sure that the game remains successful because they also want to make more money.
Yeah.
The more money that Arrowhead makes, the better, the better they all get paid. So it's a win-win kind of situation. They can't just turn off the money machine. They have to do both. And the only way for them to be able to do that is to slowly but surely hire as many people as they can or expand in what ways they can without over expanding. And I think that personally is probably the biggest issue these companies face is like, you don't want to expand too fast because you're just going to run into problems.
Yeah.
Look at,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, look at Larian Studios.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's, you don't want to do that. You don't want to grow too fast and not be able to deal with it. I mean, look at, for instance, take Palworld, for example, that studio, even though the guy said he wants to make one game and then retire or whatever, the studio was looking for someone to buy the game because they don't know how to handle all the money that was coming in. Like it was like, so they were just super small, but then you also run the risk of growing too big. And then like you said, it just like, let's say Helldivers never fixes this shit, people get tired of it. And now you've got this overbloated studio.
Well, here's the thing. From the perspective of players, they'll look at it and say, 100-person studio, you guys just made one of the biggest games of the year. This game is awesome. I love this game. I want it to be supported. Hire another 100 people. So then what happens when and then what is going to be the players' response and what's going to be like, the gaming community, the wider gaming community's response when in, 3 to 4 months from then, Helldivers has, less than half of its current player base because people have gone to play other games, or maybe there's a new hotness that just dropped and everybody has to go play it. And then all of a sudden, as a result, Arrowhead has to lay off 50 people, 60 people. And then they go,
the bad guy. Yeah.
Sony and Arrowhead layoffs. Rah! And it's like, that's what they're trying to avoid. They don't want to do that because they don't want to do that to other people. They don't want to do that to themselves. They don't want to do that to anybody. You know what I mean? So like you have to be kind of smart about these things and really, I think probably the biggest part for them is it's really difficult for them to gauge what the popularity of the game is going to be like in 6 months.
It is.
And how much to invest and how much not to invest and what the best plan to go ahead is.
I mean, they didn't expect the game to do as well as it has. They didn't expect like on day one to have as many people crash their servers, all that type of stuff. So I imagine it would be a lot harder for them to assume what's going to happen in 6 months from now of player base. So
yeah, and also at the same time, the other thing is too, this is gonna be a hot take. I just don't think the bugs are that big of an issue.
I'm gonna tend to agree with you.
I just don't really think that. I personally, from a player perspective, like some of them suck for sure. Like, yeah, they do need to get fixed. And the reason, and it sucks. It's the bug, like the issues themselves that the game has aren't the problem. It's how long they've persisted is the issue. You know what I mean? Where it's like, dude, for like a month now, players haven't been able to use like flamethrowers. Like, come on, man. Like, figure it out. But the problem is like they can't just have somebody working on just that. And there's only so many days in a work week. These guys aren't working 7 days a week. You're not working 100 employees 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. You know what I mean? Yeah. They have local laws. They're probably only working, they're Swedes, so they're probably working like
Sweden
2 days.
Has a 4-day work week.
4-day work week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different factors.
Swedish.
Right?
I'm just sitting here thinking about all the cool stuff in Sweden. Like blonde women and men. They're pretty people, that's all I'm saying.
They are. Damn Swedes.
Those fucking Swedes.
When the Illuminates getting dropped, I bet that will have an all-time. Yes. So here's the other thing too. I think that I think that the game is on the verge of a big downturn in player count. I think it's just going to happen because it's just, it's not a bad thing, by the way. It's just the natural flow of things. There's new games that are coming out.
It's just fatigue.
Elden Ring DLC is in a couple months. Like, there's going to be a massive amount of people that are going to shift over to go play Elden Ring. There's going to be a massive shift of people that are going to go to play, Final Fantasy 14 expansion. There's going to be other games that people are going to go and play. As such, all games across the board are going to have some suffering in their player counts. And here's the thing. people are probably going to disagree with me on this, but like even the final shape, Destiny's, expansion is going to have an impact.
Sadly enough, I've got Destiny 2 installed and waiting on the final shape.
Of course you do. I mean, people are still
I gotta
curious.
finish. I've got to finish the story.
And that's what it is. People just want to finish the game. And they know that this is the end, so you're going to have some people that are going to go and do that. But what's going to end up happening is that you're going to see a massive influx of players back into Helldivers 2 the minute they drop the Illuminate. And I'm just wondering when they're planning on doing that, because that's not going to be a small thing. That's not going to be like, we released the, the mechs, or maybe when they put in vehicles or something like that. That's not what it's going to be. When they drop the Illuminate, that is going to be huge. That's going to bring a lot of people back into the game. And I think what they want to do is they want to make sure that they have enough content beyond just adding in a new enemy faction to keep gameplay diverse. I'm talking about, like, I would guarantee when the Illuminate drop, there's probably going to be a whole new slew of shit for us to unlock at the exact same time.
I would hope so, because if you remember when we first started talking about Helldivers 2 and playing it and stuff, talking about it on the podcast, one of my biggest concerns for the game is its game loop is samey. Like almost everything feels the same, and I was more concerned with long-term health of the community on fatigue. So
that's why they have to diversify the missions.
They're going to have to diversify, and like to add to your comment of there's going to be a drop off. There's going to be a drop off. People get tired of playing the same thing over and over and over again. But there's people who just
unless it's Balatro.
Yeah, unless it's Balatro. Unless it's and there's going to be people who just stay because they just love the grind of it. But like people are going to stop playing it eventually just because it's the same stuff over and over and over again. Yeah. And that's where live services run into an issue. But that happens with every game. It doesn't matter if it's a live service or a single player game like Elden Ring. Eventually you stop playing it until something new for it comes out.
Yeah. Same thing, dude. Do you know what the same thing goes to that conversation that I saw that's recently popped up with Riker and Last Epoch, talking about how like the Last Epoch player count, jumped into the toilet. And the thing is that like what kind of frustrated me is that like I watched Asmongold's reaction to it. Part of me kind of wants to react to it as well. Maybe I will. I don't know.
Are you gonna do the Inception reaction where you're reacting to Asmon's reaction?
No, I'm gonna start the video and be like, "Hey guys, this is legendary
drops. You need to tuck your hair in your back of your hat, though.
This is Riker. Hey guys, it's Riker.
You know what? It'd be so fucking funny to do that, but like at the beginning of it, and I think only you're gonna get this joke. Do like a fucking Max Headroom deal, like Riker, for all those jump cuts, guys.
So here's the thing. I disagree like wholeheartedly with a lot of the things that he actually said in that video that he made, specifically because one of the reasons that he brought up was just like, games like these games just aren't being designed for infinite replayability anymore, even though they do have it in it, but it's not like the thing is I think what a lot of people fail to realize is that we just don't consume, like he keeps using Diablo 2 as a as an anchor point, like they just don't make them like Diablo 2 anymore. And it's like, one, Diablo 2 Resurrected has like 200 people streaming it. People aren't playing the game. Holy crap. Jesus. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs, Corpin VR. I really appreciate that, man. That is wildly, insanely generous of you. I really appreciate that, man. Big shout out. Holy, don't know what I did to deserve that, but didn't mean to interrupt. Carry on. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. There you go. Wow. You're now the number one gifter. Everybody's been dethroned. Holy, that's huge, man. Make sure you guys thank him for the gifted subs. That's really nice.
That's crazy.
So anyway, that totally derailed me.
Shiva, I made the same when me and Ian started talking about this before the podcast. I had the exact same take. We were kids when that game came out. There was literally nothing else to do but play that game.
There's a whole other lack of context. Like that's what it was. It's the lack of context, dude. I'm sorry, but like guys, I just want you guys to take a seat. If you're of the age of, I would say 30 or younger, or 30 or older, if you guys are over the age of 25, we'll say that. If you're over the age of 25, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, it's not even that. You don't even have to be, it doesn't matter what age you are. When you're younger and you step into a game, you just don't have the same level of context as we do today. We know how these games are designed. We know what their loops are. Even more so, what do most people do when they start playing an ARPG nowadays? They go to guides. And the games are built in a way that they're supposed to be played to the maximum efficiency because most of these games are seasonal to begin with. So that inherently makes people want to play the game as efficiently as possible because they want to try to get everything done within that seasonal window. And as such, these games are not something that you're going to sit and play and try to figure things out on your own because you want to make sure that you're taking care of it within a limited time frame that these games give you before new content is introduced to the game. And back in the day when we played games and when we were younger, well, we didn't have that kind of context. We didn't care about those kind of things. And a lot of these worlds that we would step into would feel infinite because that's just how it was. I still remember the first time that I stepped into World of Warcraft. I thought it was huge. I thought it was literally a world that I was living in. And that game shrunk very quickly the more you learned about it, and the more context came from guides, from YouTube videos, from game FAQs, and all those different kinds of things. Where way back, if you want to really get into a time machine and go back to Diablo 2 specifically, that wasn't there. Most people weren't even using game FAQs or message boards and stuff like that.
No, we were reading Nintendo Power if you could afford it.
And here's the thing. Like, there was no solid hub of information that would tell you a detailed guide on how to build a character, how to find certain items or do certain things. A lot of that stuff was actually being held in forums in a forum thread, and that's the only way you'd have to get it. So it took a serious amount of hunting and also a lot of time to wait for your web browser to be able to even load it up in the first place to be able to find that kind of stuff. So, yeah, of course, the games felt impossibly large years ago, but they're not like that anymore. And it's also thanks to the people like Riker who make guides on builds and things like that. You are actually a direct detriment to the experience that you apparently want games to have. And I think that's what I mean when I'm saying, like, people just lack a lot of perspective on these things. And they look at it in a very binary way, and it's not binary.
I don't know. Like, this is only for me. Right, I'm being in the older gentleman in the room. I don't want games to be forever. You know what I mean? I don't want a one game to just be my forever. Like, I'd like to play a bunch of different stuff. Like, I don't have the time to sit there and play a game.
People are going to get bored of a forever game.
10 million hours, man, get out of here.
Same thing. Another good example of this. You know what? Look at a game like Helldivers 2. Do people really want the war to go on forever? No, chances are they want to have a final victory or a final loss, and then it resets. That's what they did with Helldivers 1. Whether or not they do the same thing with Helldivers 2, I don't know. But at one point in time, it will just feel a little bit redundant if it really doesn't feel like any impact is really being made by the players.
No, it doesn't. And I'm getting real sick of just talking heads on YouTube, Twitter, any of your social deals using Steam player counts as like if a game is dead or not. You know what I mean? Like, games like a normal healthy amount of people playing a game at a current time, I would guess would be somewhere around 16 to 20,000 people. Would be my guess for like a long-term deal. That would be healthy. But like it's just like it doesn't make sense. Like, oh, after this many people dropped off. It dropped off 96%. Well, yeah, they beat the game and went and played something else. The game has a finish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I don't know. Like they expect all of these game developers to create this all amazing, all encompassing end game to keep you looped in it forever. And that's just not it. You know what I mean?
No, it's not feasible. It's not even realistic. Players don't even want it to begin with. That's the other thing too. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we want to consume something and walk away from it. Yeah, we like having something. Like, here's the thing. That's one of the reasons why like games like Apex Legends, Fortnite, and stuff like that are so popular, is because they're easily consumed in a single sitting. and then you just go and come back to it anytime you want because the experience itself is fresh and different every single time you go to play it, right? But you know, nobody wants to play a ARPG that has infinite scaling and it just keeps going and going and going and going and there is no end. Like, it's kind of the whole part of the whole loop of playing an ARPG to begin with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a looter ARPG to begin with is get your build online. And then like, here's the thing. Getting bored of those games and walking away from them is inherent to its design.
It is.
Think about it. The game is built around maximum efficiency, not only because of the seasonal content, but also at the exact same time because that's what your aim is. That's what you want from those games in the first place. You're trying to get to the point in which your character is so strong, the game becomes boring.
Yeah.
That's the goal. The goal is to get bored.
Yeah, it is.
So of course these games are going to have a fall off. They're going to have a season. They're going to get popular because you're going to find new ways to get bored. And then you get bored and then you drop the game and then you go do something else.
Yeah. You do something else until the game adds some new content for you to go back to roll through. And then you play that content and then you go do something else.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you got to give a lot of props to Final Fantasy 14 and Yoshi telling you, hey, it's cool if you don't play the game until the next expansion.
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah.
There's other shit to do.
Pick it up and put it down. Come on back later. Take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think in a lot of cases, when games do things like that, it does actually help to retain a player base in the long run because more people want to come back on those expansions and stick around for a while because they've taken a break from the game. So they're likely to stick around longer after an expansion. You know what I mean? And then they'll take, you know, a year break or, you know, a year or more break between the next major hit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. 100%. People in the chat are bringing up Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I haven't played it in it feels like forever, and I plan on going back through and playing it again.
Yeah. I'm going to play Baldur's Gate 3 again at one point for sure.
I think it's this next patch that they're talking about that they're going to add official mod tools, or they already did the last one.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm super. I was reading a whole lot on Baldur's Gate today. But I'm super excited when that happens because that I think is going to be my stepping back in point when the Steam workshop's up and firing, and it's just easy just to subscribe and then play. Right? You don't have to download any like sketch client or anything like that. Just play the game.
Yeah, if I'm not sure if patch 7 hit or not yet. I haven't been keeping up with Baldur's Gate 3 lately, but if patch 7 hit, that one was supposed to include official mod tools.
Yeah, I think that's the one I was reading on.
Which, if that's the case, I cannot wait to see what people do with this game.
Yeah, right. Right. I mean, I know people have been playing with mods for like the last couple months, but like after playing Divinity Original Sin 2 with the mod tool mods, dude, that game was phenomenal. So I imagine what they're going to add to this. It's going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Baldur's Gate 3, if you don't mind, did you see that Hasbro's going to go ahead and try to carry on after Larian? They're shopping for developers right now.
Oh, they're already trying to, because they want to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah. Basically, in their words, let's see. Evans, that's the CEO. Okay, Evans doesn't exactly answer your question like when we should expect a sequel or what shape it is, but does seem to be all but assured that the company is aware of the astronomical success of Baldur's Gate 3 and is keen to try to recapture that more quickly than it did the last time. So, meaning 25 years between Baldur's Gate 2.
So, I mean, who are they going to get to
dude?
I'm sorry. Here's the thing. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say this. Who wants to be the one to make Baldur's Gate 5?
Who wants to be the Witcher after Henry? You know
after
what I mean?
Henry Cavill. Yeah, it's like,
who wants to be the Witcher after him?
Good. That's so good. That's such a good comparison. Only to have it canceled.
Yeah, so they're saying that in that article, they're saying that, you know, they're looking for the right partner, and there's people who've contacted them that are interested and they're up for the challenge. And I'm like, dude, That is not. That's dude. That's
I'm
not
gonna be
something.
so. I saw somebody said Owlcat or Obsidian are the that's the only options. Here's the thing. I wouldn't say Owlcat.
I would not.
I'm gonna be honest. Like for the scale of what you would need to do to be able to try to put something that even just delivers on, I don't know, like half as good as Baldur's Gate 3. I don't think that. Not a huge knock, by the way, against Owlcat. Owlcat has some great games. I just don't know if they have the resources to be able to handle a Baldur's Gate 3 or Baldur's Gate 5. Obsidian,
Yeah. Maybe.
I mean, that's Xbox
Yeah.
backing.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
iffy.
Xbox, here's the thing. I actually, you know what, Mark? I'll be honest with you. That's probably the best choice if I was Hasbro, because Xbox would be inclined to invest very hard into Baldur's Gate 5.
What about 4?
No, they're going to skip it.
Oh, okay. That's fair then. If it's 5, yeah, you're on
4.
it. You're right.
Baldur's
on.
Gate 4. Yeah, if they're going to make a Baldur's Gate 4, then I would imagine that, yeah, whoever's going to pick it up.
I love Obsidian. Don't get me wrong. I love Obsidian. But man, like, Larian is just fucking masterclass, dude. That's like that's like saying, hey, Van Gogh just gave up painting. I need someone to paint Van Gogh for me, but not be Van Gogh. Can you do that?
Solnus said, let Hideo Kojima do it for some reason.
Oh, it'd be all weird and shit.
Oh man.
None of the context would make sense.
No. That's too good. But yeah, I don't know, man. That's crazy. I wonder what what are you gonna do?
Because I mean, they're all like turn-based, right? So obviously the game style would be the same. That's so hard, dude. Someone on Twitter made an interesting. They asked the questions like, "What game ruined a franchise?" And Baldur's Gate 3, I think, is going to be the game that ruins Baldur's Gate.
Yeah,
because you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. So, I mean, you did see that Larian or Baldur's Gate 3 has done what no game has ever done and won all of the major Game of the Year awards, all of them. No other game or studio has ever done that, ever, in the history of Game Awards. Baldur's Gate did. Literally the best game of all time.
Yeah.
Or the best game of all 2023.
Well, no, you're right. Yeah, it's literally the best game. It'd be the best game of all time.
The best rated game of all time, I guess.
Best rated game of all time. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, go ahead. Another studio, just come on and pick up the franchise where they just dropped off. It's cool.
Sure.
Y'all got this.
Yeah.
Y'all got this. You're a studio of 100 people? Okay, cool. You got this.
THQ or some fucking random ass place.
Fucking THQ Nordic is on the job right now,
bro. Let's give it to those guys that made Dark Alliance. They did a great job.
No. You know what? Who makes Ark Survival? I think they should pick this game up. Yeah. Those guys should 100% start making Baldur's Gate 4.
My God, that's so funny. Bethesda. Oh God.
Fuck, dude. Could you imagine every NPC just following you and saying the exact same fucking thing over and over again? Hey, when you've got a moment, I need to ask you a question. And you go talk to them and they're like, what? Okay, cool. And you go on and like, hey, I need to ask you a question. You turn around, what? Oh, okay, cool. And you just keep going. Yeah, that'd be great.
Did you see that Larian Studios is working on 2 new IPs?
2 new IPs. Well, no. 2 of their own IPs.
Yeah, 2 new original IPs.
I don't know if it's new original. Just they're of their own OWN. 2 of their own IPs is the way they worded it. I think one of them's new. I think the other one's Original Sin 3, which I'm hoping for. Because I think Original Sin has a way cooler story than Baldur's Gate. So,
well, I mean, Baldur's Gate's predictable because we already know like the lore of D&D, right? Where Divinity's a little bit more open ended. They can do whatever they want.
Do whatever the F they want. That's right.
They're working on I think they're working on a space game.
Okay. They pretty much made said that it's going to be a CRPG. One of them is at least a CRPG.
I'm sorry, dude, but like a space Larian CRPG would be.
It would be fire. It would be fire, and I'd be happy about it. To be honest with you. I love sci-fi.
As long as they're space wizards.
Some space. Dude, we're already playing Space Wizards in Warframe.
I know that's actually one of the reasons why I like Dante so much is because it's like I'm playing as space ninjas. Now I'm playing as a space wizard.
This is space ninja wizard. He's really good with the sword.
Flipping my book out, throwing out fireball.
Dark Hollow. What about sci-fi do you not like? I love when people say that they're not a fan of science fiction, and I just never know why. I just always agree. Yeah, okay, yeah.
New Dragon Commander. So I think that what do you think the chances is that they're going to do an action game?
I would say 45%.
How would you 45. Feel? How would you feel about a Divinity game?
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair. How would you feel about a Divinity game that was like The Witcher?
That was like The Witcher?
Mm-hmm.
I would be down for that, to be honest with you. Yeah, they have some pretty cool skills. I think what Obsidian's doing with Avowed is probably the wrong way of doing it, to where all the animations and the special effects and stuff are identical to what happened in Pillars.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it feels the same or whatever. Yeah. But I if they use those abilities but change it up to make it look cool, I have no problem. I think it would be awesome, to be honest with you. Could you imagine the kind of story in an action game like that they could come up with? Be pretty good.
Yeah. They've done an action game before, though. Remember?
Which one?
There's a Dragon Commander, right? Or not Dragon Commander. Oh man, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head for some reason. I'll look at it.
Or a card game. That's interesting, Jay.
Yep, they're just gonna make Divinity Balatro.
So, okay. So you can get behind like a cyberpunk, but not the space. Okay, that's fair.
I think Divinity 2 is an action game, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it Dragon Commander? It's one of it's either Divinity 2 or Divinity or Dragon Commander. They have such a terrible like naming like way of naming their, because you have like Divinity, Divine, you have Divine Divinity, Beyond Divinity, Divinity 2, Divinity 2 Flames of Vengeance.
Yeah, Divinity 2 was an action RPG.
Divinity 2 The Dragon Knight Saga. Divinity Dragon Commander. Original Sin 2, and then the definitive edition.
I don't know. I just like, here's like selfish me is I fucking love CRPGs and I love Larian, so them making a CRPG is like, it's like finding out that your mom is actually sleeping with the real Santa Claus. You know what I mean? Like that,
Christmas is ruined.
Yeah, Christmas is do not drink the milk. But yeah, like, so it's like selfish me wants them to just make a CRPG. That's all I want them to do, just make a CRPG. I'd be happy with whatever they make because they do take their time and care when they do stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm excited for both, to be honest with you. I'm excited for both.
Me too. I'm yeah, it's sick. I whatever, they can make whatever they want. I think the thing that like makes me the most excited about it is the fact that that they're going to be doing like what is it? That they want to make sure that whatever they're making is within the next 4 years. Like it's out within 4 years. Which if that's the case, then that means that like by 2026, so like within 2 years, we'll probably see an early access.
Yeah, well, it's possible. I know he wants to already like tell, like from the article that I was reading, already tell the public and everybody what's going on with it, but he realizes it's way too early to do any of that stuff.
Yeah, no, there's no reason to. You don't want people to know what you're working on just yet. You know what I mean? What if Microsoft licenses out Fallout to Larian? You know what, matey? You know what the funny thing is? That's actually not a bad idea from a business angle, because you know for a fact that Bethesda is not going to make another Fallout for at least another decade, right? So
I don't know. I don't know with how popular Fallout's going if they don't just jump ship on it right quick.
How? They're already working on Elder Scrolls 6. They're not going to drop E6 and ES6 and go to something else.
They're not a small studio either.
No, they're indie.
We're talking about Bethesda.
You saw, yeah, Bethesda. They're an indie studio. They only got like look at.
Is that why the games are so buggy and uninteresting?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Look at Starfield. You know what I mean? That's an indie game.
It feels like it. A bad one.
Actually, I was about to say
a bad indie game.
Indie games have been feeling better than fucking AAA lately for a while. So.
Oh, insanity. That's nice. That's nice. I like that.
But
I would enjoy that.
But it would be actually. It's honestly not a bad idea. And here's the thing: that's not it. It wouldn't be the first time that Bethesda licensed out one of their games.
No, it wouldn't be.
Right?
Like I said, yeah. I mean, yeah, New Vegas was by far their best Fallout game. I don't care, hands down, it's their best Fallout game. So
I've never played it. I downloaded it. I'm gonna play it.
I'm
gonna play it. I don't know if it's a stream game though. I don't think I would stream it. I'm thinking. So I think next week I'm for sure streaming Warframe at one point.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna stream Helldivers, obviously.
Jeez.
Yeah, but you know what? Speaking of Fallout, actually, so I watched the show.
Okay, all of it. You watched all of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't really like real shows.
No, I like anime.
Yeah, I mean, like literally, you do not watch any type of human shows.
I mean, there's humans in anime.
You know what I mean. Okay.
There's human voice actors.
Yeah, human voice, but I'm talking like human people, like people. You don't watch stuff with people.
Yeah, because a lot of shit that people make is garbage now.
Have you seen the new season of The Witcher?
Exactly.
Me either.
My point. Case in point. Like
yeah, I don't know.
Normal television.
Ray, I don't know how to say it other than human shows. I don't know, like
live action.
Live action. Yeah,
live action.
I don't know what that like. I don't know.
Really good. I think it's really well paced. You know, I liked the characters. I like the story. I like how it canonizes some stuff, and I'm really excited for the future of it. That's for sure. I was actually just really surprised with like how authentic it was.
Yeah.
Like that's one of my biggest worries when it comes to like video game adaptations and stuff like that is like how authentic it reflects the game. And I mean, like Pit Boys look like Pit Boys.
Yeah. The weapons look like the weapons from the game.
Weapons look like weapons from the game. People are getting shot with teeth and stuff like that. Yeah. You know, like the booby traps and stuff. We didn't really get to see a whole lot of monsters, but I think they did a really good job with the
bear. That bear was pretty cool looking.
Yeah. Also the
kind of looked like a rat though, if I'm being honest.
There's also what was the sea monster? They didn't show any rad toads.
No.
They showed rad roaches.
Well, that's kind of the beautiful thing about Fallout, though. Like, as an IP, every game starts as a different vault. So you have like a starting baseline of, you know, world went to shit, everyone hid in these vaults, right? But yeah. So every vault is its own like story. It's its own community. Like it is ripe for like multiple years of a show. They could literally just change vaults because the communities are so vastly different and how they interact.
Here's the other thing. Like it's not even just that. It's also like the geographical area as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like right now they're just in the NCR, right? They're in California and Nevada. So they're, bouncing out between those vaults out there. They still have, other stories to tell outside of there. Obviously, it looks like they're going to. It looks like I'm not going to spoil where it's going next, but it looks like they're kind of sticking hard line to the games that have come out already. But
yeah, they made those games canon. I did read stuff, not spoilers, but just like ideology. So yeah, a lot of the games are going to be canon.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like the characters. I really like how everything was set up. I really like the cinematography was really good in it. Yeah. And I do actually, I think somebody I saw brought it up in chat, but they did a really good job of like capturing what it's like making like a role-playing game or like playing a role-playing game, because it did kind of feel like that, where those moments were like, oh, you can go down the left path or the right path, or like how you'd randomly come into contact with something that would set you, in a direction. Like there's the dog that kind of serves as that, dog meat kind of serves as that kind of that kind of factor in it as well. The cast was absolutely fantastic. I just can't wait to see what more they do with it. And I'm wondering to see like, how much they're going to invest in it, because it's wildly popular to the point that it's seen a major resurgence in every single Fallout every single part of the Fallout franchise.
Every facet has, every game is being played and tracked on Steam right now. Every game.
Yeah. If I go to Steam right now and check, I'll look. Go ahead.
Oh, Ren, I was replying to somebody in the chat. Ren says that the 4K 60 FPS update for Fallout 4 is this Thursday, and I was like, it's been that for like a bunch of years, and then I didn't go down and scroll down. He was talking about for the consoles.
Oh.
So that's kind of cool.
There's a high def update for Fallout 4.
Yep, for the consoles. Yep, that's pretty dope.
Part of me wants to play 4 because 4 is going to be like the closest in fidelity to games that I'm playing today. But like, and New Vegas is going to be like a way step back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, New Vegas is going to be a big step back. Fallout 4 was just not very good, if I'm being honest. My opinion of the Fallout games. I didn't like it as much. It felt barren. Like, it felt barren.
But I wasn't a Fallout snob.
Yeah. Okay.
So I didn't play Fallout 1 or 2. I played 3 and I was like, this game is sick. And then Fallout 4 came out and I like it. But here's the thing, I was also like, when Fallout 4 came out, I wasn't like a, video game aficionado. You know what I mean? It was a hobby more than it was anything, like a very casual hobby. I didn't play games like super hardcore back then.
Yeah, see, Dark Carlo's on my side on that one. Fallout 4 was bad. It's pretty bad.
No, I mean, like, the vast majority of people will say that they don't like Fallout 4. I don't really understand why, but maybe it's storytelling
it didn't feel very Fallout-y. I don't know if that makes sense. And the story was a little... Anyway, if people haven't played it, I don't want to ruin it for them.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to play through New Vegas, I think, first before I do anything else, because I haven't played it ever, so that'll be an experience in itself.
I think that's good. I think that's good. I think that'd be good for you.
Yeah,
good and healthy for you.
Cool. Yeah. So this is us getting to the end of the show. Here we are, 2 hours into the podcast, and the cat's getting hungry, and so he's coming to bother me now. This is the part of the show, guys, where we actually ask you, the audience, for questions. So if you guys have any questions for us that you'd like us to directly answer, whether it's about something that we talked about on the show that we didn't answer or something else entirely, you guys are welcome to ask those questions now. All you have to do is just ping us with @legendary drops, and we'll see it in chat, and then we will answer it as we go.
Yep.
So I'm gonna let you guys do that. I'm gonna throw Mark on full screen and feed the cat.
Yeah, I'm going to read a quote from a company that makes City Skylines 2. This is I thought it was interesting because it's probably the most honest like apology letter that I've ever read that isn't like, you can tell like their publicist didn't get a hold of it beforehand type deal. So if you didn't know, City Skylines 2 put out a DLC called Beachfront Property. Okay. You know what's crazy about it? There are no beaches in the DLC, and it's kind of jank, right? It's very, very low bar for a DLC. So this is what they wrote to the fans. This is Dear Cities fans. We see and understand the disappointment many of you have expressed after the release of Cities Skylines 2 and the recent release of Beach Properties. We asked you for your patience and support, and you've shown those. In return, we let you down. We thought we could make up for the shortcomings of the game in the time frame that was unrealistic and rushed out a DLC that should not have been published in its current form. So basically, the game didn't do well sales wise when it came out, and so what they're saying is they put out this DLC to try to recoup some of that initial launch money. For all this, we are truly sorry. We have made statements like this one before. It includes a pledge to keep moving improvements. While we are working on these updates, they haven't happened at the speed or magnitude that is acceptable, and it pains us that we've now lost the trust of many of you, and we want to do better. That was probably the most honest "I'm sorry, we fucked you" apology I've ever seen. Like, it's probably the most maybe satire. Yeah, I can't believe that they did that, dude. Like, they apologized and pulled the curtain back of saying, "Hey, we sent you this DLC knowing that it wasn't ready and that we just needed to try to recoup our funds." Yeah, City Skylines is reverse No Man's Skies. I'll be down for that. Okay. That's because Aspen plays with roaches nowadays. Racing roaches, I'm in. Roaches are disgusting. Many of y'all don't know. I was a service manager for a pest control company. This is years ago. And what's odd, I'm going to get into a story. What's odd is you can tell the difference. Like, we would service a lot of apartment complexes, generally on the Section 8 and low income properties. So every apartment complex has to pay for some sort of pest control service. So yeah, origin story for real. I got so good at my job that from the door before they open it, just by smell alone, I could tell if it was roaches or bed bugs. Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, I would bed bugs are a hell of a lot easier to get rid of than roaches are. I can just tell you that much. Roaches are resilient bastards. Where did this go? They were talking about Asmon's playing with roaches and racing roaches. So
oh man, let's see here. At Legendary Drops, is it worth starting Helldivers 2 now, or did I miss all the fun? Start now.
Missed it. Sorry, it's over.
No, there's no such thing as missing all the fun.
It's over.
The game is incredibly healthy. It's one of the wildest stories for a live service game to follow. It's crazy the how opening and accepting and cool the community of the game is. How easy it is to find other people to play with, and even more so, it's a constantly evolving storyline. The best part is that there's no such thing as players being like ahead of you necessarily in gameplay. It's just super nice to be like, you can literally just hop in, start playing, and you can play with anybody. You can earn a bunch of stuff, start doing cooler things, but you're pretty effective basically the minute you start. Hell, I mean, even like the first booster that you get is one of the best boosters in the game, even though like a lot of people don't use it that much.
Yeah, roaches have a smell if there's a bunch of them.
At Legendary Drops, thoughts about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 trailer. Looked amazing. I've never played Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Is that where the knights sit out on the front porch and play their banjo?
No, I don't know. It looks like from what I understand and from what most people tell me, it's like a hardcore first person medieval like RPG.
Oh, okay. They don't just like stare at each other and say, "You got a pretty horse, boy." Don't do that.
I guess like the combat's very, very difficult, very challenging. It's not like there's a group of 5 enemies, I'm gonna jump in and take them on. Like, you actually have to like think about that kind of stuff. There is like there's a pretty good amount of hype around it. There's a lot of people that are really excited about it, but I never played the first one, so I don't really know exactly what the kind of experience, what the game's experience is like.
I thought just from the name, like I get very name biases when I read something, and that just screamed like RTS to me, and I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah, it's not an RTS.
I have no idea. I have no idea if it's good or not.
It's like if Elder Scrolls had better combat, but it's like more difficult combat. It's like Elder Scrolls Dark Souls.
Yes, JT. Yeah, it was.
Or something like that. It's no Stellar Blade, but it's fun. Yeah, I am actually looking forward to Stellar Blade. I think I might get it. I don't know.
I'm not.
I know. Even though you have a PlayStation 5 right behind you.
Yep. And it's gonna sit just like that. We're good. No
We're
more.
Good. It's an ornament.
Good. It's an ornament.
It's an ornament. Fantastic storytelling. Yeah, well, I've heard that as well too. People told me that the story for Kingdom Come Deliverance was really good. There's also like another game as well that I saw recently that popped up. I'll have to find it exactly. But there's a game that it's an RTS, but like everybody is controlling the characters, like a massively multiplayer.
That would be super dope. Is that Manor Lords?
I don't know.
Is that the Manor Lords? Lords of the Manor?
I don't know.
Well, I don't want to get off topic. May is a big month for me. I think it is. Oh, he's saying Manor Lords. Yeah, JT. I had a great Deliverance joke and it completely ignored. Completely bombed.
Anvil is what it's called.
Anvil.
Yeah.
Manor Lords is more beach property. I got you, Floomy. See what you did there.
Oh my god. Oh man, what else we got here? Is there anything else we're talking about?
I don't want to talk about the Warhammer controversy because it's dumb.
We'll talk about what?
The Warhammer. I don't want to.
Like,
does it matter? They're all wearing armor. Doesn't matter. Let's just leave it alone. There you go.
Yeah. So like,
Solved.
I brought this up. I brought it up before, and like maybe I'll make a video on it. So one of the things that I if you guys have stuck around for a while, one of the things that you probably know that I usually do is that we don't really dial in and talk about like social politics,
yeah.
culture war stuff or anything like that. Especially because I had a lot of people that were asking me, they're like, there were people that were upset that I didn't cover Sweet Baby Incorporated, that they were like, like questioning my YouTube journalistic integrity because I didn't want to cover it. So I'm going to give you guys exactly what my take is. My take on all this kind of stuff, like whether it's the Warhammer stuff or whatever, is basically what I've said in the past, which is that the people that are making these kind of changes are people that lack direction, lack ability, lack talent, and as such connect themselves and attach themselves to a movement and use that as a support tool to be able to put content out there for people to buy because that's because they feel like they can use it as a crutch. Usually is what it is. So if you're seeing like a lot of like, hardcore leaning into like inclusivity on video games and stuff like that, usually what that is it's a cop out because, if people hate it, then you can just tell the people they hate it because they, they're bigots or whatever, right? It's an easy cop out.
Yep.
And frankly, the thing is that a lot of the content that a lot of people will point to and they'll say like, look what they did to this game, 90% of the games that they point to were games that were going to be shit, regardless of whether or not these people put whatever ideologies into those games.
Yeah.
Regardless, they were already going to be a shit game. It didn't get ruined by it. It was already, it basically was already shit. You just threw some flies on it. So the thing is that like the content that people keep pointing to, it's taking over. No, it's not, because those games aren't popular. The games that are popular are the games that aren't doing those things. And even more so, the other thing is to point out as well is that like the reason why I don't really talk about a lot of this stuff, especially when it comes to like the gaming journalism, like issues and things like that people have been getting into, is specifically because of the fact that like why do I want to take time to discuss the hypocrisy of these people? Because none of the things that they say actually are supported by their actions. All the things that they say that they believe are immediately undone by the next thing that they tweet out on. Everything that they do, every post they make, every article they make, everything that they do, all of it is virtue signaling for things that they themselves do not believe or practice. Why would I want to give them the time of day for something that they don't even actually give a shit about?
Yeah.
Because I don't. I don't care because I know they don't care. I know it's all fake. I know it's all there for clicks. It's all there for engagement more than it is anything else. We have an epidemic of people that lack talent in the world. We have an epidemic of people that are latching themselves onto movements to be able to give themselves some sort of purpose. I just don't play into it. That's it.
There for a second, when you were like, everything that they say, everything that they do, I thought you were going to quote Sting and like, they'll be watching you. And it started to make me think of that song, and then made me start thinking of the original Dune again because Sting was in that movie. So, yeah.
For real?
Yeah. VSig is pretty gross. It's pretty gross. Yeah, your take is a lot the same as mine. I'm so sick of it. Just, you know what makes it worse is it's not even the fact that it's going on. Like, I just don't care. It's the media behind it that's like it is meant specifically to poke and prod, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you look, like, all I did was copy and paste the Kotaku header off of this article. I didn't put anything else in it. That's all I did was just copy and paste it, and it says Warhammer 40,000 has slightly more women in it, and now the neckbeards aren't happy. How is that going to be a constructive conversation about it?
Well, no, because people they're not interested in constructive conversations.
Well, I mean, Warhammer 40K is played specifically by, I don't know what neckbeards. I mean, I know what a neckbeard is, and I know what they're alluding at, but like, okay, so if it's only neckbeards that play this game, then why change it? Makes no sense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Title is more than slightly inflammatory.
Yeah, it is. Very.
Yeah, because that's just what they try to do. Do you guys do song requests?
I saw that and I was like, what the fuck?
Trying to get your reactions, but no problem if you're busy with Helldivers right now. What? Song request?
Because you have guitars. You know what's crazy is
does it look like Mark's supposed to be singing and I'm supposed to be playing guitar?
Well, it's not just that. Like, I'm literally right now I'm shopping for a electric drum set to put behind me to hook up to this bigger screen to play Clone Hero. And now we're gonna look like a band once I get it.
Are we gonna have online jam sessions?
F yeah, we are.
I don't even think that's possible with delay.
Some news. My wife made me watch that new Taylor Swift video on her phone. And before I said, she goes, I just need 4 minutes. I said, babe, let me preface this off the first. I'm going to give you your 4 minutes. I'm going to say that. But let me preface with the fact that there's nothing in the world that I would care more about than watching this fucking video right now. And then I watched this fucking 4 minute long video with Post Malone and Taylor Swift.
Was it a song?
It was a song. They're duetting it up. She even puts on she even has like the Post Malone tattoos on her face.
Oh wow.
Which isn't cringy at all. And then Post Malone doesn't have them, and he looks like a normal dude.
Did you see all like the criticisms for her latest album? It had me fucking rolling. People are like, this entire album was written by ChatGPT. Because it's like, so like, I don't know if you've used it at all, but like ChatGPT is like really hardcore about like using very weird words that we don't typically use day to day. Which is like, delving into a rich and fantastical world. And it's just like, nobody says delve. Like, I guess like a bunch of her songs have like the word delve. So people are like, delve. I
wouldn't be surprised. The Delve album. I need a shirt that says delve.
Delve. Let's delve together. Anyway, that's all we have for today's show, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out. Today's been an absolutely fantastic day, an absolutely fantastic show. Yet another fantastic episode of the Just Gaming Podcast. If this is your first time, we do this podcast every Sunday, 2:30 p.m. PST on the dot. So if you guys would like to come and join us yet again, you will see us next week. So outside of that, tomorrow, I'll be recording and recording a video. And then Tuesday, I shall be streaming, playing either Warframe or Helldivers 2. I haven't really decided on that one yet. So, yeah.
I know what I'll be playing.
We'll be getting into it.
It rhymes with Warframe.
Balatro?
Yes.
Anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. Mark, do you have any closing words?
Yeah. Do you even delve, bro?
And there we go.
For you, Rin.
Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe, my friends, and we will catch you guys on the next episode of the Just Gaming Podcast.